The true freshman in his first college game. No pressure, full house, national TV. His brother Jose was their great kicker a year ago. Spinning kick goes out of the back of the end zone. It was Jameson Williams, the transfer from Ohio State, who was back to receive it. So here come Bryce Young and the Crimson Tide offense. Sophomore, but in essence a redshirt freshman, because everybody got a free year because of COVID last year. Southern California, out of Modern Day High School, one of the top quarterback prospects coming out 2 years ago. Many believe he was the best. 9 games a year ago, all in relief. Now he is the man. He said pressure only comes if you're not prepared. He believes he's fully prepared. He hands it off to Brian Robinson. And Robinson drives ahead for 2. He was smothered by a defense fired up and led on that play by Keontre Smith, an outside linebacker.
This is going to be the real challenge for Miami. Can they stand up to the Alabama run game? Even though it's a new quarterback, they feel like their offensive line is still going to be physical. Manny Diaz, his defense last year struggled against the run, and they're going to get tested right away by this Alabama front.
Substitutions along the offensive line relative to what Alabama thought it would start the season with. More on that in a moment. Young, a play fake and a deep throw to an open receiver. Jamison Williams couldn't take it in.
He stumbled. I mean, he was beyond the defense. He did have to kind of turn because the ball was not thrown over his outside shoulder. Watch him have to turn his head. And as he tried to move towards the ball, he lost his footing. But Bryce Young had an opportunity for a huge play right there on second down.
Of course, they lost Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle from a year ago. Heisman Trophy winner Smith, both were first-round picks. They're happy to have Williams over from Ohio State. He brings experience and speed. 3rd down and 7. The opening possession of the season for Alabama. Young has time. Far sideline. Caught. John Metchie, their leading returning wideout, has the first down. Out at the 40-yard line.
A really nice job. Watch the left side here. Pick up the blitz. Nice job by Mcclellan, the tailback, and then Bryce Young delivers a timing throw to Metchie, the most experienced receiver. Watch him get away from the contact, make the catch.
And back they come again. Slade Bolden, another veteran receiver, picks up 11 and gets them into Miami territory. They'll go quickly. You mentioned changes on the offensive line. They thought Chris Owens would be the center, but the right tackle, Kendall Randolph, is out with a high ankle sprain. So Owens, 79, is the right tackle, as you can see. And Darian Dalcourt starts at center. John Metchie. Good tackle in space by Gervin Hall, one of their safeties. It's a veteran Miami team. Just about everybody back on defense. In all, 19 of their 22 starters returned from an 8-3 team of a year ago.
One of the things you always wonder about in a game 1 scenario, how will we tackle on the perimeter? Because both of these offenses are going to test that with quick throws, just like the one we just saw.
Young 3 out of 4, the only incompletion, the ball that Williams couldn't handle when he was open, and spun around and stumbled to the turf. Brian Robinson in his 5th year, finally the lead back. Powers his way to a first down to the 37-yard line. He has waited very patiently to be the starter. His 53rd career game, his first start.
Well, he's a powerful guy. When he gets those shoulders north and south, a difficult guy to tackle. Listed at 225 pounds. I mean, he's a grown man playing tailback for Alabama.
Waited behind Damian Harris, Najee Harris, both in the NFL. Miami showing blitz. They are very aggressive on defense. The head coach, Manny Diaz, has reclaimed the defensive coordinator role as well this year. He's calling the defenses. Young had to step up away from the rush. Wide open receiver. It's John Metchie lunging for the pylon. There is a flag. It's a touchdown if it stands.
I think Miami was offsides on the pass rush. Evan Neal still blocked his guy, and this touchdown should stand.
Offside, defense, number 13. Penalties decline, the results of the plays, touchdown.
DeAndre Johnson got a head start. It didn't matter. Here's the end, the dive for the pylon. What a great shot on our progressive pylon cam. And John Metchie, the guy who is assuming the starring role in this wide receiver core, off to a great start.
Will Reichert, who didn't miss a kick all of last year, field goal or extra point. Good on his first try of this season. Terrific start for Bryce Young. 4 out of 5 on the drive for 67 yards and the touchdown pass to Metchie. And we welcome our ABC audience inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, with Molly McGrath and Todd McShay down on the field.
Miami player number 3.
Alabama took the opening kickoff, and Bryce Young, in his first career start, marched them right down the field.
Well, it was a brilliant drive by Bryce Young. One thing we saw all possession was him adjusting protections. Evan Neal blocks the rush. Metchie gets behind the defense. That's 2 plays on this opening possession where Alabama had receivers behind the Miami defense. And you can't make those kind of mistakes against a team as good as Alabama.
Some question as to whether or not Metchie was out, but he got the ball over the pylon. He is now the lead man in the wide receiver room. They have lost 4 wide receivers in the last 2 years to the first round of the NFL. 2 years ago, Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy, and in this year's draft, Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. Fair catch called for by Mike Harley off the Will Reichert kickoff. So Miami will start from its own 25, led by De'Aaron King, the 24-year-old from Manville, Texas, in the Houston area. Started his college career at Houston, 4 years there. Now in his second year at Miami, more than 10,000 career yards. When you put together rushing, he was actually a starting wide receiver at the beginning of his Houston career. Eight months ago today, injured in their bowl loss in the Cheez-It Bowl against Oklahoma State. His right knee, remarkable quick return to action. He's never worn a brace, and he says he never will. Dual threat quarterback like Young, and he's on target for about 7, maybe even 8, to the newcomer from Oklahoma, Charleston Rambo.
Rambo, a nice addition to this offense. That's Rhett Lashley, his second year in this system. The first time De'Aaron King in his career has ever had the same offensive coordinator, same system, 2 years in a row.
And he's on target to Will Mallory, and the tight end has the first down. He steps into the lead role at tight end for Brevin Jordan now in the NFL. Here are the impact players. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, and Manny Diaz says Charleston Rambo gives them something they haven't had in recent years, a deep threat who can win one-on-one matchups. That's Cameron Harris ahead for about 5. And Todd Henry To'o, a great story for Alabama, transferred from Tennessee, arrived in June. He's already a leader of that defense.
Well, the defense he played in at Tennessee, Jeremy Pruitt was the coach. It was the exact same defense they run here at Alabama. Pruitt was an assistant here under Nick Saban. So he was able, with that knowledge, to come in and be a leader right away.
Ball start. Offense, number 60, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's Zion Nelson, the left tackle. Rhett Lashley says he's their most talented offensive lineman. They have an experienced offensive line. That might be the old joke, though. The good news is we have every starter back, and the bad news is we have every starter back. It has been a line that has struggled in recent years. But among the group of about 159 combined starts, only Minnesota has more. Cam Harris back to the 42-yard line.
The real challenge for this Miami offensive line will be the two outside rushers, Will Anderson, 31, and Chris Harris, number 4.
Here's Cameron Harris in trouble and stacked up on 3rd down and 7. They tried to sneak in a delayed run, and Will Anderson, Phil Mathis among those having nothing of it.
Yeah, there was no fooling the Alabama defense. Everybody held their ground, held their technique. Christian Harris, number 8, the linebacker, forced it back inside. And there was Will Anderson there to help.
So here's a weapon, Lou Headley, the 28-year-old from Australia. Slade Bolden back for the punt. He's standing in the sunshine. Just a small part of the field at that end, as you can see, is in the sun. The rest of it in the shade. I wonder if that caused Jamison Williams a problem on the first possession picking up the ball. Miami led the country in net punting last year, thanks largely to Headley. His line drive punt was fielded by Bolden, who returned it for 5 yards before Corey Couch tackled him. 38-yard punt. Alabama scores on its opening possession. That's a great omen historically.
I watch tons of shows and movies. You know that scene where the president has to fly the plane? I watch it a lot. Now, is the cockpit in the front or the back?
Slade lets you build your perfect.
And before they can snap it on their second possession, a
False start.
flag.
Offense, number 1, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Jamison Williams off to a bit of a shaky start in his Tide debut. We mentioned it's a great omen when Nick Saban's team scores a touchdown on its opening possession. Alabama's won 41 games in a row when doing that, haven't lost since the 2014 Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma. Bryce Young, 4 out of 5 on the opening drive. Brian Robinson is the running back. Runs left, runs over Canes, and nearly gets the 15 for the first down. He got 13 before Bubba Bolden shoved him out.
It shows a little burst, too, because he's going to break this to the outside. And he's able to get to the corner. He breaks one tackle, and then you see him just run through a couple arm tackles. Again, this is a big physical back. He runs very upright. And you've got to bring a load to get him to the ground.
Brian Robinson grew up in Tuscaloosa, went to Tide games as a kid, said, I've worked and waited my whole life for this opportunity. He waited very patiently. He's a good back. He has the first down. As a matter of fact, when we spoke with Bill O'Brien yesterday, the new offensive coordinator, he said he thinks the running back group of about 4 is very deep and talented. And what a nice start for Bill O'Brien in the spotlight.
And a little different. Steve Sarkisian, the man who took his place. Steve Sarkisian was calling plays as a coordinator on the field. Bill O'Brien up in the booth. Just came from the NFL, so even the whole signaling system different than what he's been used to the last several years of just speaking into a headset to his quarterback.
1st and 10, 8.5 to go, first quarter. 7-0 Bama. Miami brought pressure. They flush Young, who throws on the run and has a first down. Jameson Williams the catch. And the elusiveness of Bryce Young on display on that play.
I mean, Miami over the last couple years has always been able to rush the passer from the edge, but you see the elusiveness, the quick feet of Bryce Young. He told us when we talked to him, he says, look, I am mobile, I do have good feet, but I want to stay in the pocket and be a passer for as long as I possibly can. But he knew that time when to get out and make a play outside.
Jace Mcclellan steps in for Robinson at running back. He brings some speed. He got 3 to the 45 of Miami.
You mentioned the running backs. Bill O'Brien told us that they've got 4 guys they feel very confident with. Of course, Brian Robinson, the starter, Mcclellan, the next guy in. And even though they lost 3 starters off that offensive line, they still think this is a really good group. Evan Neal, the left tackle, is going to be a first-round pick himself very soon.
Play fake. Young dumps it out in the flat to Mcclellan, who got blasted by Tyreek Stevenson, a transfer from Georgia, Miami native, who came home to play for the Canes. And Manny Diaz told us that's a lot of what he brings, physicality.
Tackle. Yep. You know, we've already seen from Bryce Young his knowledge of this offense, his ability to set protections, to direct traffic. He's got a real maturity about him for a young player.
Best in the country on third down during their 13-0 national title season of a season ago. They picked up a key third down on their opening possession. Young, all kinds of time, shovels it to Mcclellan, work to do, and he did it. Got the first down with 2 to spare, tackled by Corey Couch and Gilbert Frierson.
Well, first of all, it's only a 3-man rush, so he just moves to his right to see if he can open. 3-man rush means 8 guys dropping. There's not much room to throw the football, but he doesn't panic. Keeps his calm, flips it out to Mcclellan, kind of like a delayed option play almost.
Like he's playing in the schoolyards of his native Southern California.
Watch him go for a shot right here, though.
On 1st and 10 for the 36. High snap. He took it down. Gave it to Robinson. Brian Robinson inside the 20. Ball might have come loose at the end, but he was ruled down at the 17-yard line. And already, for Canes fans, Todd, shades of a year ago, not doing a very good job tackling or stopping the run.
No, and a really nice job by Cameron Latu leading that play, the tight end number 81 in there. And again, I mean, this is a hard back to tackle in Miami with their hands full right now.
They're being dominated in the first 9 minutes plus. Already 7-0 Bama, and they're on the move again. Robinson taken down for a loss by Corey Couch. The play forced by Bubba Bolden. Bolden, one of those who elected to return for another year. De'Aaron King announced he was coming back for another season before they even played the bowl game in which he got hurt. And as soon as he said, I'm coming back, Bolden and several others said, I'm not going to the NFL. Bolden said, I'm coming back to win a national championship. And that starts Saturday, meaning today. Blitz up the middle. Harris dodged it again. Bubba Bolden whiffed. And Young throws it away. Over the head of John Metchie, but that was just a throwaway.
Well, Bubba Bolden could have taken a big step forward for his team. He's coming on a safety blitz unblocked and just kind of whiffs. Now, part of that is just the nimble feet of Bryce Young. Still has to throw it away, but that loss of yardage play could have been huge for the Hurricane defense.
Bryce Young's parents, Craig and Julie, part of the sellout crowd of more than 71,000. With the roof open, very comfortable day, temperature in the mid-80s and low humidity. 3rd down and 13 from the 20.
3-man rush again, zone defense.
And Young steps up, fires back in the end zone, and it's broken up. Nice play by Bolden as Young tried to rifle one in to Slade Bolden, no relation to Bubba Bolden.
Well, that's a good stop by the Miami defense. Both on 2nd down and 3rd down, it was more than 10 yards needed. They went 3-man rush, dropped 8, and just tried to keep all the receivers in front of them, plus an eye on the quarterback, and they forced the field goal attempt. A much-needed stop by the Hurricanes.
Reichert had a perfect year last year, 14 for 14 in field goals. Made all 84 PATs. Dating back to the season before, he'd made 15 field goals in a row, and now 16. Longest active field goal streak in the country, that one from 38. Bama's had it twice. They've scored twice. Work to do for De'Aaron King when we come back. National championship program history under the great Gene Stallings.
That's one of those plays you'll never forget either, right? The strip by George Teague and Lamar Thomas.
Yep.
I mean, that's just one of those plays that's etched in any college football fan's memory.
The 18th meeting all time between these two. Alabama leads 14-3. They haven't played since January 1st of '93. Will Reichert to kick off. It's been all tied so far. Tumbling kickoff will go through the side of the end zone. Mike Harley couldn't fetch it. Back in the studio, we say good afternoon to Kevin Nagandi.
Good afternoon. Showing time now for our AT&T 5G studio update in Madison, Wisconsin, trailing in the red zone. Graham Mertz late against Penn State's defense.
Yeah, Penn State playing a little robber coverage. Mertz just didn't see the robber.
And then the final play of the game, again down by 6, another pick.
Can't be laid across the middle, Kev.
Sean, I know your partner Todd's smiling. Penn State holds on 16-10.
Yeah, that was a great win. You know, slow start last year in the COVID year for Penn State. Great win on the road today.
Cameron Harris in trouble on first down. Did well to get across the line of scrimmage. Where Christopher Allen made the tackle for Alabama.
Chris Allen and Will Anderson, these two outside linebackers, they think they're going to have a special pass rush this year because of the skills of those two.
Harris ran into his own man, got bounced back as he collided with Navon Donaldson. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, D'Eriq King told me he attacked rehab 2 times a day with one goal in mind, to be back to play in this game. He's just 8 months to the day removed from his ACL surgery. His physical therapist told me it's usually 9 to 12 months that players are ready to return to the field. And he told me he's ready to run with the football, but we're going to have to see something special from D'Eriq King today.
5 wide receivers. King over the middle. The slant connects to Keyshawn Smith, but he's down 2 yards short of the first down. Tackled by Jalen Armour Davis, a first-year starter, a special teams player the last couple of years. Standing in for the first-round pick, Patrick Surtain. It looks like Miami might be going for this.
No, they can't. They can't do that. Way too early in the game for that. I mean, you've already had trouble stopping Alabama, right? Don't give them a short field.
Well,
use the weapon you have in Headley, right? And try to pin them back down inside their own 15-yard line.
Watched Minnesota the other night. P.J. Fleck go for it from his own 29 and turn the game, at least for a while. That net punting mark last year was the all-time FBS single-season record. Nearly 45 yards net, and that's an example of why. 47-yard punt, no return.
Timeout on the field.
In the NFL next week when that season kicks off. That's pretty amazing.
And Tua and Mack will be going head-to-head as New England and Miami open against each other. Mac Jones wins the starting quarterback job for New England on opening day, beating out Cam Newton, who was released by New England this week. Third possession for Bama. They've had a touchdown and a field goal. It's Brian Robinson stacked up after a 3-yard pickup. Well, if those are big shoes to fill, and they certainly are, Bryce Young didn't seem the least bit affected by it.
Yeah, I loved his demeanor. I mean, he was a really interesting guy to talk to. He was very thoughtful, kind of soft-spoken. Reminded me personality-wise a little of Tua, but just like the 3 guys ahead of him and before him, just student of the game, has really embraced the work ethic and the ownership of the offense.
Has room to take off running. Has the first down with about 2 to spare. Chased out by Gervin Hall. When we talked to Bryce Young about being the latest in the line, he said to us, I'm even keeled when you're prepared. Pressure fades. Confidence comes from what you do before you get to the game.
Yep.
And he's so well prepared. Obviously brilliantly coached by Steve Sarkisian. Now Bill O'Brien.
He was well coached in high school too. The program he came out of there, Bill Rawlinson was his head coach. I mean, this is a guy who understands how to play the position.
He's in trouble, and he tries to throw it away in the direction of Cameron Latu, the tight end. I think they're going to call that an incomplete pass. They do. Lucky for
There is
Young.
no foul for grounding. Eligible receiver number 81 was in the vicinity.
Well, the reason that Latu was in the vicinity is because he missed the block. I mean, he was responsible for DeAndre Johnson, and he missed the block coming across the formation, but was able to be there for the throwaway and prevent the loss of yardage play.
And Latu's presence in the starting lineup is a story for Alabama at the start of this year. Neal Billingsley was their tight end at the end of last season, was extremely productive, but he hasn't fallen completely in line with what Nick Saban expects from an Alabama football player. There's Brian Robinson tackled in space by Tyreek Stevenson. Billingsley is here, but not starting today as Nick Saban tries to hammer home to him the importance of doing what you're supposed to do on and off the field.
Yeah, I mean, you know, last year he was a key factor. When Jalen Waddle got hurt, he became a big factor in the passing game, but it's about doing things right all the time, and apparently Billingsley still has some learning to do in that part of the process.
3rd down and 6. Can Miami get a stop on 3rd down? Alabama's 2 out of 3 on 3rd down so far. We're in the final minute of the opening quarter. Miami fans trying to make it tough on Young. They flush him to the right. A bullet on the move and a first down to Jamison Williams. The Ohio State transfer. What a throw for a 9-yard gain.
Perfect timing, and he had to do this on the run. Watch the pressure come and force him to his right. He still throws this on timing as Williams is coming out of his break for the first down.
He's only 6 feet. Bryce Young, 194 pounds, but big arm, as you just saw, and you've already seen a couple of times here in this impressive opening quarter. He's 9 out of 13 for 103. Robinson crosses midfield, and here's a flag. Looked like Bradley Jennings came in with the helmet. Rod Snodgrass is the referee. This is a Big Ten officiating crew in a non-conference game, SEC versus ACC. It's actually Bolden who came in with the helmet.
Personal foul. Targeting defense, number 21. That play will be under further review.
I thought it was more the shoulder. It's not a defenseless player because it's a running back running with the football, but any hit to the head or neck area can be targeted. Well, no, it was helmet first.
Jennings made the tackle, and then it was Bolden who came in with the helmet. Well, we're with Matt Austin again this season, and delighted that we are longtime on the field referee. What say you, our good friend, about your first call of the season from home?
Well, thanks, Sean and Todd. I agree. This is definitely targeting. He lowers his head, hits him right in the side of his helmet with the crown of his helmet. This should be a pretty easy confirm.
And it looked like when Bolden, the safety, the team leader's been ejected. That's Ed Reed, one of the great safeties of all time, college and pro football Hall of Famer, their chief of staff, trying to comfort Bubba Bolden. He's been a great influence on Bubba. They watch a lot of film together. Cameron Kitchens, a true freshman, number 24, has taken over in his first game. Bryce Young throws incomplete, intended for Metchie. That was an untimed down.
That's the end of the first quarter.
And because we just had a lengthy break, they're just going to move to the other end of the field very quickly. Ordinarily there would be a TV timeout here, but there won't be, and that gives us a chance to chat with our pal Todd McShay. Todd, just 3 starters back on the offense for Alabama, 2 of them offensive linemen, Emil Ekiyor and Evan Neal, and you've been really impressed by Evan Neal.
Yeah, everyone loves talking offensive linemen, right? The sexy position, but Evan Neal, if you watch him in the box jump that he does, I would have probably broken my whole body. I have no idea how he does it. At 350 pounds, he's able to make that jump and spread his legs and then hold his body control. And that's why he's going to be a top 5, top 7 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. He's special. And when I talked to the opposing, offensive players for Alabama, they said that there was no question who the in Alabama, and it was Neal.
That was a 48-inch box jump, split leg. That's from a 350-pound man. There's a lot of downside risk there. I mean, what happens if you don't stick the landing? That is not going to end well.
No. For you, or maybe some people around you.
That might have registered on the seismograph if he didn't stick the landing.
He is so good, though. He was the right tackle last year. Of course, Alex Leatherwood you know, was an award winner, first-round draft pick. Now they move Neal over to the left side, and just like Todd said, I mean, he's going to be a top 4 or 5 draft pick himself, and he is really special.
Listed at 6'7", 350. After the play fake, wide open JoJo Earl. He's a freshman. That's his first career catch, and he took it inside the 20 for a 16-yard gain. Tackled by Gervin Hall, the one remaining starting safety now for Miami. Manny Diaz told us we have excellent starting safeties. Hall and Bolden, they're veterans, but true freshmen behind them. And it wasn't going all that well, even with the veteran Bolden out there.
Yeah, right now, Manny Diaz doesn't have any answers for Alabama's offense.
Jameson Williams gets 9 more. Tyreek Stevenson made the tackle. Bill O'Brien said yesterday about Williams, Ohio State must be loaded at wide receiver if that guy couldn't really get regularly into action for the Buckeyes.
Well, they are. He was right about that. But this guy has been a welcome addition to Alabama's receiver room.
Play fake by Young, wide open, and it's a touchdown. Alabama picking right up where it left off last year when they hammered Ohio State for the national championship. Cameron Latu, the touchdown.
What a nice drive. I mean, again, Manny Diaz doesn't have any answers. They can't stop the run. If they rush 3 and drop 8, they're not making the quarterback panic. He just buys time. He dumps it off if he has to. And when they do try to come after him, he hurts the man coverage with the right decision and an accurate throw.
That is the first career catch for Latu. Redshirt junior from Salt Lake City, former linebacker. Bryce Young, 12 out of 17 for 137 and 2 touchdowns.
Well, watch the move by Latu on linebacker Keontre Smith. Here's Latu right here. Here's the coverage. A little out and in, and watch him just leave the linebacker right outside, and a wide open target for Bryce Young.
And if Nick Saban's trying to have a teaching moment for Jaleel Billingsley, I'm sure he's pleased about that development too. We have somebody else who can play and play well if you don't want to fall in line.
The execution level so far of the Alabama offense, that was one of the question marks, right? We knew they've recruited well. Nobody has recruited better than Alabama over the last several years. But how quickly
number 3 is now number 39 on the kick return team.
Level?
Total yardage 200 for Alabama, 30 for Miami. They've run 27 plays to 8 for the Canes. Mike Harley back deep for the kickoff. Now it's just the small sliver of field that is still in the sunlight. And they'll start from the 25 again. And a touchback by Will Reichert. What a week 1 this is of college football. There was some action last week, of course, but that was week 0, as it's come to be known. Tonight on ABC, 7:30, a top 5 matchup, 2 national championship contenders for sure. Number 5, Georgia, and number 3, Clemson from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. JT Daniels at quarterback for Georgia. DJ Uiagalelei for Clemson.
Yeah, that's going to be a great football game. I think Georgia with JT Daniels, if he stays healthy and plays the way he did at the end of last year, has a real chance to threaten Alabama in the SEC this year.
De'Aaron King takes off running and has the first down. Second of the game for Miami. He picked up 11.
That's what he gives you. I don't know that we'll see a lot of design quarterback runs out of De'Aaron King today, but those kind of plays, when things break down and he has to extend a play, Rhett Lashlee wants his quarterback to do that.
Look out! He got hit by Chris Allen, and the ball popped out. And Phil Mathis has it for the tie.
We talked about Will Anderson and Chris Allen. Here's Allen working on the right tackle skate.
Recovered by the defense.
He just blows right by him. You cannot block those two guys one-on-one for a long period of time. They're both collapsing the pocket. Both Allen and Anderson had a beat on the quarterback, and that one resulted in a turnover. In 2015 and 2016, this Alabama defense had 50-plus sacks in both years, and they feel like they have that caliber of pass rushers on the edge for this season.
Chris Allen limped off and needed to be helped into the medical tent. A great field position for Alabama. The Miami 33. Young to Slade Bolden for 4. D'Eriq King also limping on the sideline. It was his right knee, in which he tore the meniscus and ACL in the Cheez-It Bowl against Oklahoma State in late December. Had surgery 8 months ago today. Remarkable pace of the rehab to be ready to go. They said he's 100% and he wasn't going to think about it at all. If the play called for him to run, or the situation called for him to run, he would run. He had nowhere to run that time. Flipped the Metchie, and he got flipped to the ground. No gain. Nice play by Corey Flagg.
Let's take a look at the hit on D'Eriq King at the end of the play. Both guys involved in that play ended up in the injury tent. See D'Eriq limping off. Hope he's okay for sure.
Well, Chris Allen has had a history of knee injuries as well. He missed all of 2018 with a preseason knee injury. Got a look at Tyler Van Dyke, who would be the backup quarterback for Miami if needed. 3rd down and 6.
Alabama 3 for 4 on 3rd down so far in the ball game.
They blitz to the Canes, and the tackle is made by Keontre Smith. He drops Brian Robinson for a loss. Now let's see what Nick Saban will do now on 4th and about 10. King looks okay.
Looks frustrated, and rightfully so. They just have not been able to put anything together yet against this Alabama defense. And we talked about this defense potentially being the best Nick has had in the last several years.
Well, Will Reichert's made 16 in a row, but this one's from 51. His career long is 52. He got plenty of it, and the streak is still alive. Will Reichert bombs one from 51.
That looked like your draw off the tee right there. That was beautiful.
Nice little baby draw. Ball State. Mike Harley hoping for a chance to return a kickoff. Alabama dominating, leading 20-0. Will Reichert will have another touchback. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, let's update you. College Park, Maryland hosting West Virginia. Winston Wright Jr. Boog. He's the dynamic weapon from Neal Brown and the Mountaineers, and he's off to the races.
And as usual, early in the season, the one thing lacking is tackling. No tackling by Maryland, and there we go, Kev. Hit his head on the goalpost.
98 yards. Letty Brown punched it in. Right now, 17-14 Maryland. Iowa in control at home against Indiana. Good one in Eugene between
Charleston Rambo caught it, got dumped for a 2-yard loss by Brian Branch. Meanwhile, Christopher Allen going to the locker room for further examination and looking despondent, understandably so. Trey Sanders, number 20, has come in for him. Experienced backup. Cameron Harris, nowhere to run. Shoved out of bounds by Brian Branch with help from Jordan Battle.
Malachi Moore, these two, they list him as first and second team star. Now today, Malachi Moore is starting at safety in place of DeMarco Helms, and Brian Branch is the star, and they are two outstanding players. And on both those plays, perimeter throws stopped for 0 yardage. Good open field tackling and taking on blocks by the secondary people of Alabama so far.
Miami in jeopardy of a very quick 3-and-out. King is 5 for 5 passing. Anderson got a great jump. He got a piece of King up around the face mask. D'Eric managed to scramble for 5, but went down 5 short of the line to make, and it was Allen's stand-in, Trey Sanders, who ran him down. Boy, how quick off the ball is Will Anderson.
Yeah, he's so quick, and you know, he feels like he's playing even faster now because he has more knowledge of the defense.
Miami number 5 is now number 46.
He gets around there, gets enough of D'Eric King to take his eyes off of downfield and force him up into the pocket. Doesn't get the sack, but as Nick Saban likes to talk about, that is definitely affecting the quarterback.
So here's Lou Hedley to punt. Wow. Line drive bomb kicked on the run. Slade Bolden. Nice tackle by Corey Couch. 52-yard punt, a return of 8.
Timeout on the field.
Data together across your clouds, from suppliers to shippers to the factory floor. So whatever comes your way, the wheels keep moving. Seamlessly marked.
15 of 20, 127 yards, a couple touchdowns. The skill that I'm most impressed with is his ability to move in the pocket, to feel the pressure, but never take his eyes off of downfield. So he feels the rush, he moves when he has to, but his eyes are still downfield finding the open receivers, and that is a difficult skill to have, but he is doing it naturally. Then, when he has to make a quick read, he did that for his second touchdown.
Was so poised, never in a hurry, doesn't have happy feet. Sets and fires here on target. Slade Bolden, first down. Bumped back by Tyreek Stevenson, but he had the first down with forward progress. Todd McShay.
Yes, Sean, I watched Bryce before the game. He threw about 50, 60 throws in the pregame, and every single ball, didn't matter if it was 10 yards or 50 yards, was a little bit high. And I just walked on the field and I said, why? Why is the placement there? He's like, because it's so hard for defenders to get it. I was really impressed with his absolute accuracy.
Chase McClellan, another missed tackle by Miami, and into Canes territory went McClellan.
You know, the other thing, Todd, that I noticed in watching him today and then on the practice field in Tuscaloosa on Thursday is his ball is very soft. It's a very catchable pass. I mean, he's got zip on his arm. He can make any throw you want, but the ball always looks soft as it's moving towards receivers.
It's catchable.
Yeah.
We asked Bill O'Brien, he's 6 feet tall. He said, yeah, but he doesn't get balls batted down. Finds the seams, has a pretty high release. McClellan again after a 15-yard gain gets 3 more.
But see, you could say the same thing for Bryce Young as we said for Mac Jones, and we said for Jalen, as we said for Tua. The best friend of a quarterback is a good running game. And right now, Alabama is still able to run the football when and how they want. And that just sets everything up, whether it's play action pass, whether it's RPO game, takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback.
Young on target, Metchie. Oh, high stepping. And out of bounds with another first down. Metchie wasn't involved in a lot of their off season. Had a couple of lower leg injuries. I'm not sure Nick Saban will like that.
Watch the route, though. Watch just a little pause and then back inside working on a linebacker. That's a mismatch to begin with. The acceleration of Metchie. What a beautiful route.
18-yard gain, 5 catches already. He had 8 in their national title win against Ohio State in South Florida. Brian Robinson back in to the 25-yard line. Wayman Steed whiffed on a tackle attempt. Robinson lost his helmet. Robinson will come off. And we're more than midway through the second quarter now. Lots of stars from yesteryear, and in the case of Devontae Smith, yesteryear was not long ago. Here today, it's obviously an off weekend in the NFL with the season opening coming this week. Young throws it away. in the general direction of Cameron Latu. And you could have quite a game if you lined up all the guys who are on the sideline.
Oh my goodness. Be a good pickup game, right?
Landon Dickerson, the center last year, wasn't able to play in the title game due to a knee injury. But we're told among those expected, Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, Warren Sapp, Ebron James, Brevin Jordan, Jalen Phillips, Reggie Wayne. Here's 3rd down and 8. And that's just a partial list of Canes who are here and not enjoying it, certainly. 5-man rush. Young, first down. Latu, who didn't have a catch for his career, has 2 touchdowns. $25 yards for Cameron Latu.
Well, watch Bryce Young set the protection this way. Pressure is coming from here. He calls turn protection. He gets the back over there. He steps a little bit to the right until he sees Latu open in the middle and gets him the football. Awareness, understanding, recognition, and then getting the football where he needs to on time.
And one thing's for sure, if Miami does want to return to national prominence, they need to tackle better.
Yeah.
The tackling has been dreadful here in this first half, this first quarter and a half. So Cameron Latu, who did not have a career catch coming into today, has caught 2, both for touchdowns. A message to Jaleel Billingsley, probably something along the lines of, we want you to be fully a part of this. But they have such a great culture there. You know, Nick told us yesterday the players really largely take care of the culture themselves. They keep each other in line. So you can't have one guy who isn't doing the same thing as everything else. There is a flag down on the kickoff. Miami might have been offside, or Alabama might have been offside. The Aflac trivia question, and it's a good one to start
offside.
The year.
Kicking team number 40, 5-yard penalty from the touchback spot, first down.
De'Aaron King is 24 years old. We want to know how many starting quarterbacks this week, week 1 in the NFL, opening day starters, are younger than he is. By the way, he's more than 4 years older than Bryce Young. Bryce Young just turned 20 in July. Donald Chaney at running back. Quick pop, gets 6. The answer is 6, including each of the last 3 starting quarterbacks at Alabama who've already gone on to the NFL. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones. He's also older, as you saw, than Justin Herbert. And there are 5 24-year-olds. Zach Wilson, obviously, going to make his debut for the Jets. Trevor Lawrence for the Jags. He's the youngest. But also 24 are Sam Darnold, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones, and Kyler Murray. So he's older than 6 and just slightly younger than 5 others. He's under duress again and swung down. It's Christian Harris, who Manny Diaz, the Miami coach, called the best linebacker in college football when we talked to Manny this week.
Well, they brought both inside backers. Toa was first, and then Christian Harris second, and did a nice job of getting to the quarterback.
Loss of 4, 2nd and 14. 4 wide receivers. Yep, there he goes. Will Anderson.
You can't block this guy one-on-one and have a lot of success. He's too quick off the ball. This time they're trying to pull a backside guard to help. They actually have 2 guys accounted for him. Neither one of them stayed with the block. And Anderson just kept working his way to the quarterback.
Sophomore from Hampton, Georgia. Really came on the second half of last season. Obviously learning as he was going along. Didn't have a sack in the first 6, had 7 in the last 7. In the flat, Cameron Harris. He gets walloped at the 44.
You know, obviously this is not all on De'Aaron King as Miami's forced to punt again, but we talked about the Alabama quarterbacks, right? The last 3 going to be starting in day one in the NFL.
Number 5 of Miami will be number 46 for this play.
The last Miami quarterback to start an NFL game, former Hurricane, was Ken Dorsey, all the way back in December of 2008 for the Cleveland Browns in a 14-0 loss to the Bengals. Dorsey's now 40 years old, and he's the passing game coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. It's been a long time since Miami has had that kind of quarterback. They used to have a ton.
Lou Headley, the punt. There is a flag down. Irvin Hall interfered with Slade Bolden, it seemed.
I'm not sure if he was blocked into Bolden by Jameson Williams, number 1, or not, but Miami was in position to really down the ball deep inside the 5-yard line. Big Ten officiating crew. Big day for the Big Ten. Big weekend. A lot of conference matchups. A couple really good games.
Personal foul. Kick catch interference. Kicking team number 26. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down. Timeout.
Different everything. Somewhere inside of him is the answer to how this all happened and how we fix it.
You're good thieves. Best in town. Thank you.
The action from the AT&T 5G Skycam. That's actually looking out at the Skycam. First and 10 Alabama, 4 minutes to go in the half. Big hole for Roydell Williams. He lost the ball. And I believe they're going to rule him down, and they do after an 8-yard gain. Cameron Kitchens.
Ruling on the field's a fumble.
Tackle.
Recovered by Miami.
Okay.
First down.
Well, that's news to everybody on the field, as the offense and defense for Alabama and Miami, respectively, were still standing there. But after talking about it, looks like they got it right.
It was a good hard tackle by the freshman Kitchens, who's in there because of the injury to Bolden. First, you couldn't tell if the knee was down before the ball came out, but the ball clearly came out as he's diving forward. So a lack of ball security by Williams, and a really nice play beating the ball carrier right at the spot by Cameron Kitchens.
Who's a true freshman playing in his first college game out of Miami Northwestern High School powerhouse program. He won 3 state titles there, did Kitchens. And he'll get the turnover chain. Hard to celebrate that too much when you're down 27-0, but it has
Going
become
on the field
tradition.
was a fumble recovered by the defense. That plays under further review.
By the replay official, Rick Nelson. Now, the turnover chain debuted in 2017, and it has been much imitated now in a variety of ways around the country.
Well, the interesting thing too is, I mean, there's a lot of hype surrounding it, but it's actually been something that is you know, really inspired and motivated their team as well, because since the inception of that in the 17 season, they've had 92, and this would be 93 forced turnovers, which coming into this year was tied for the 3rd most in that period of time, tied with Iowa and Syracuse, the only teams ahead of them. Clemson the leader with 97, Alabama with 95.
Oh, I wanted to guess.
Oh, we already did, Affleck.
I guess they're looking at the replay to see who recovered the fumble. Matt Austin, let's bring you in. You look like you're ready to go. We can see you. The audience can't, and that's a shame to waste the movie star good looks. But
Yeah,
how
Sean,
are you, buddy? What do you think?
Doing very well, thanks. Yeah, you're exactly right. They're looking at this recovery because the Miami player looked like he had it between his legs, and that's not allowed to have possession of the ball when it's between your knees. You have to have your hands or your arms controlling it. And you can see right there that the Alabama player got it and was on his knees. So I think they're going to give this ball back to Alabama.
Should be a big relief to Roydell Williams after his animated message from Nick Saban. We should mention that it's an experimental replay situation here today. Big Ten officials on the field and in the replay booth. Rick Nelson is the replay official. Here's Ron Snodgrass.
After review, there was a fumble, however, was recovered by Alabama. First down at the 35-yard line.
So good work by Rick Nelson.
Yeah, I got to give the chain back, right? You don't get to keep it.
No.
You got to go back to work.
But the celebration still stands.
Yeah.
You can't undo that. Back into the safekeeping place it goes. But this game is part of an experiment. The Big Ten is the only one of the Power 5 conferences that does not use collaborative replay, where you have replay officials at the stadium but also somewhere else, back in a headquarters looking at monitors. So today, Gene Simcoe, the Big 12, is actually in Pittsburgh at DB Sports headquarters, and he is weighing in on the replays with Rick Nelson. Now the officials want to continue to talk about this. So we don't know if it was Gene Simcoe back in Pittsburgh who suggested to Rick Nelson perhaps take a better look at this. Ultimately, the decision maker is the replay official who's here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Okay, the down will be second down. Second down.
That's what they're trying to clarify. Second down and probably where to place the ball.
Well, because it was not a change of possession, right? Because Miami was ruled to have never recovered the ball.
Matt Austin at his lovely home, nodding his head in agreement with you, Todd.
That's a tough break for Miami. I mean, in a game where they have had little to nothing go their way, a turnover there, getting a short field right before halftime could have been at least something to salvage this first half for the Hurricanes.
Roydell Williams, a sophomore, breathes a sigh of relief. Bryce Young off quickly to Javon Baker. He gets taken out of bounds by Gervin Hall and Tyreek Stevenson. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Roydell Williams might be breathing a sigh of relief, but his shoulder might be sore because Brian Robinson Jr. went up to him, punched him on the shoulder and said, "Come on, man, you can't do that. You have to be better than that." And B-Rob told me it's his job to hold these guys accountable. Everyone was trying to calm Williams down, saying it's okay, but not B-Rob.
Roydell out of Hueytown, Alabama. Prolific high school career, rushed for just under 6,000 yards. Very highly recruited. Stayed at home in Alabama. Zach McLeod drives back Brian Robinson for a 2-yard loss. McLeod in his 6th year at Miami. A 5th-year senior year ago, got the extra year because of COVID. Everybody did. And he's made a transition from linebacker to defensive end.
Yeah, and he's got a really good connection with Manny Diaz. When he came in as a linebacker, Manny Diaz was his position coach and defensive coordinator. He's been with him a long time, and he's really kind of thrived at that defensive end position. And that's been a position, a feature position on this Hurricane defense ever since Manny's been back in town.
Bryce Young over the middle and dropped by Treyshawn Holden.
Treyshawn Holden, another young player trying to earn his stripes and some reps, and he just, watch, all he's going to do is try to run before he secures the catch. He turns his eyes upfield. He's thinking about the run after the catch, and he just doesn't make a clean catch.
That would have been his first career catch. He's a sophomore from Kissimmee, Florida.
Alabama has recruited the state of Florida so well under Nick Saban, particularly wideouts. Got 3 young ones on the roster right now. There's Jerry Judy.
Miami shows blitz, rushes 5, Young throws behind Cameron Latu. There's tight coverage by Amari Carter. Tomorrow on ABC from Joe Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, number 9 Notre Dame and Florida State. The Irish winners of 32 in a row against unranked opponents. That's a school record. And then back here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium Monday night to cap off this Labor Day weekend, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Louisville and Ole Miss, the first meeting ever in football between those two schools. And the Rebels will be without Coach Lane Kiffin, who tested positive for COVID. He is vaccinated as of this morning when he appeared on game day. No interim coach mentioned. He said the responsibilities will be largely spread out. And we look forward to that, Kevin. Thank you. Minute 57, 3 timeouts for Miami. Trying to get on the board before the half.
They deferred the opening kickoffs. They'll get the ball to start. They need some momentum. I mean, they got to put a drive together that hopefully can finish with some points. You've got an experienced quarterback. You got 3 timeouts. This is a critical drive for De'Aaron King and the Miami Hurricanes.
Charleston Rambo to catch. He gave him the first down. Cameron Harris gets 2.
We talked about Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator. This is not his first go-round against Alabama. He was offensive coordinator at Auburn for 4 years.
Good throw and catch. Keyshawn Smith down near another first down. Jalen Armour-Davis made the tackle. He stayed in bounds, didn't get the first down, about 2 yards short. Rhett Lashley's a young coach still, 38 years old. Seems like he's been around forever. Cameron Harris again. He's been the offensive coordinator at Samford, Arkansas State, Auburn, UConn, SMU, and now in his second year here at Miami.
Well, they thought they were going to slip a run in for the first down there. He doesn't want to waste a timeout, but they're taking a lot of time. I know you got 3, but again, this is a critical drive to score points, and you are letting time run off the clock too freely right now.
You have to go for it, you'd think, on 4th down. If they don't get it, that's a moot point. They do get it, and Cameron Harris upended in the open field by Josh Jobe, a returning starter at cornerback, preseason first team all SEC this year.
And another Florida kid out of Miami that Nick Saban recruited.
And whistle stopped the play for a false start against the Hurricanes.
A little sloppy operation right now. You know, I mean, the clock stops temporarily to move the chains for a first down. You still don't have to use a timeout, but then they get the false start and they move themselves back 5 yards. You mentioned Rhett Lashley at Auburn.
False start. Offense. Number 11, 5-yard penalty. First down. The penalty includes the option for a 10-second runoff. Miami has chosen to take a timeout. Their first of the half.
Lots of great action tonight, tomorrow, and Monday, as this week 1 of college football will conclude on Labor Day night right here in this building with Louisville and Ole Miss.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned no Lane Kiffin. The good thing for Ole Miss is Matt Corral, his quarterback, is back, and he's a heck of a player. Knows that offense, knows what they're doing. And, you know, Sean, I was mentioning Rhett Lashley going against Alabama's defense, Nick Saban, for 4 years when he was at Auburn. 2013 and 14, they won in 13. They lost a shootout in 14. He had a quarterback similar to De'Aaron King and Nick Marshall. However, the next 2 years, 15 and 16, he did not have that kind of quarterback. And they had the kind of offensive output that, unfortunately, he's suffering today. 82 yards of total offense in the first half so far against Alabama.
De'Aaron King throws it away. And there's no question, King's a very talented guy.
Yeah.
You talked about the lack of quality quarterbacks in their program in recent years. He's an excellent quarterback. But even though this offensive line is experienced, they're getting manhandled.
Right.
By Alabama.
Well, and again, at the top of the show, we talked about where's the strength of Alabama. Now, the offense has been better today than we thought they might be. The defense has been what we expected. A dominant defensive front led by Will Anderson. Chris Allen left the game earlier. We don't know his status.
Throw behind Mike Harley. It'll be 3rd down and 15, 25 seconds to go until the half. Under Nick Saban, when leading by 7 or more at the half, Alabama is 134-4. That's 97% of the time when they're up by 7 or more at the half, they win.
You got to get half the yardage here if you're De'Aaron King. I mean, you've got to go for it on 4th down, but you don't want to be 4th and 15.
Pressure from King's left. He got it off to Charleston Rambo. You know, they said they were going to try to take some deep shots, several of them to Charleston Rambo, but they can't block well enough to have the time to do that.
I mean, that wasn't even a blitz. It was an extra rusher, but it was only 4 rushers. But that time, Brian Branch was there. It kind of fooled the offensive line. It wasn't an overload blitz, but De'Aaron King had to get rid of the football before he wanted to because pressure was there.
Miami will go for it from its own 45 on 4th down and 10 with 20 to go in the half. King given a nice pocket that time, and a beautiful throw and catch by Keyshawn Smith. First down, 35-yard line.
I mean, there's no question if you give De'Aaron King time, if you give him a pocket, he can make those throws. He's
Charge
an
timeout, Miami.
passer.
Their second. This is a 30-second timeout.
At least they'd like to have something positive to happen and get some points. Andy Borregales, true freshman, hoping he gets a chance to try his first field goal as a Miami Hurricane. He has a strong leg like his brother Jose, who was their kicker last year and won the Lou Groza Award as the best kicker in the country. He had an excellent training camp with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jose was kicking for somebody in the NFL.
Right now you wonder who can step up and make a play for Miami. Is it going to be Rambo? Is it going to be Mallory, who only has 1 catch? I mean, coming into the ballgame, we thought Will Mallory, who's right here, would be a matchup issue in favor of Miami. They've not been able to get him the football.
He has 1 catch for 7 yards. King, plenty of time, lofts it up, going deep for Rambo, and a flag flies as he got tangled up with Daniel Wright. Well, their coaches told us they'd like to take several deep shots with Rambo. They finally launched 1 deep.
It's the right matchup, too. You see, Daniel Wright is a backup safety who's in the game because they're in dime defense. 6 defensive backs.
Pass interference, defense, number 3, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Right down to the ground.
Yeah, I think Rambo's the only guy that made contact on that play, not Daniel Wright. It was a good matchup going Rambo against a safety. I think that's a poor call that went against Daniel Wright right there.
The Bama fans agree with you, and there are more Alabama fans here. This is only about a 3-hour drive from the campus in Tuscaloosa.
Now, the big difference, though, if that's the NFL, that ball's inside the 5-yard line, a chance to go for a touchdown. Now, there's only 5 seconds.
And they're going to run another play. Maybe just try to get in the middle of the field for Borregales. Yes. Not enough time to really feel confident you can throw one toward the end zone and have enough time for another play.
Now you have to try to get points here. You get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. You're just looking for little tiny victories right now if you're Manny Diaz and the Miami Hurricanes.
So here's Andy Borregales stepping in for his brother Jose. They're very close. And Molly McGrath talked to the Borregaleses during the week, and Jose texted Andy to remind them of their shared pre-kick routine. Get comfortable, find an aiming point. Left knee, lean shoulders back, ready to go. Checkpoint accomplished, kick good. The Borregale have been kind to Manny Diaz.
It's the end of the first half.
37-yard field goal, and a little consolation to take into the locker room for the Canes. Our score at halftime is Alabama 27, Miami 3. The State Farm halftime report after this message and a word from our touchdown passes. And our producer Josh Hoffman, always helpful, told us that if he gets 5, he would also be the first person to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's something to look forward to, Josh. Always helpful.
that UConn math education, I guess.
Yes,
right?
proud graduate of UConn, although we're not going to mention that the Huskies went down to Holy Cross today. Have I not been saying for 3 years now, Bob Chesney, the coach at Holy Cross, is a star. The guy is a star. Will Reichard's kickoff will not be returned. Speaking of stars, he's Todd Blackledge. And Bryce Young, terrific. If you're Miami now, what do you try to do here in the second half?
You just have to condense this and say, okay, we did not play well in the first half. We did something good at the end of the first half, the end of the second quarter. Now we just have to try to put some things together, build some building blocks, some positive pieces for the rest of our season. You know, because again, when we talk to Manny Diaz, they talk so much about, you know, are we ready to play our best game on this kind of a stage? We haven't done that yet. Well, no, they were not ready in the first half to play their best on this stage. But they still have 30 minutes to do something.
Christian Harris, the tackle to dump Mike Harley for a loss. De'Aaron King is now 12 out of 13 passing, but for just 76 yards. He's had very little time against this relentless Alabama pass rush headlined by Will Anderson.
Well, 29 yards rushing, just puts everything on the quarterback. There's Mallory with just his second catch of the ball game.
Well, Sean, you guys were talking about keeping it simple. That's what Manny Diaz told me he wants to do. He said, you got to just get that first down, then we can get some momentum. We've had some plays and some opportunities, but penalties are absolutely killing us. And he said his message to De'Aaron King is don't look at the scoreboard, don't get frustrated, don't try to do too much. And I asked him if he was going to run more in this second half. He said, we're going to do whatever we need to do to win this football game.
King on target to Mike Harley for the first down. Harley, their leading receiver last year. There's Charleston Rambo. Out near the 40-yard line. Will Anderson there. We talked to Will Anderson, Todd, the other day. He said, I view myself as a complete player. I'm not just a pass rusher. He worked hard in the offseason to be better in pass coverage and in space.
Well, and against the run. And that's what we saw right there. I mean, perfect technique, just riding the block down, keeping his hands free, and then there to wrap up the ball carrier. If you want to be a complete player, it's all of that. You know, when he was just a defensive end in high school, so he had the pass rush piece down, but it's the coverage piece. It's the other things of being an outside linebacker in this defense that requires more from him, and he's answering that.
Started every game last year for Alabama as a true freshman. Nice throw, nice catch. Harley lost his helmet as he was tackled. He has the first down to the Alabama 44-yard line.
Now, this is exactly what you want if you're Miami. Come out of the locker room, get some momentum, make some plays, piece some positive things together. De'Aaron King's got him on the Alabama side of the 50-yard line now to start the third quarter.
16 out of 17 for the game with the 5 for 5 on this drive. Rocket, that's caught by Xavier Restrepo, a freshman. He was a freshman last year, but he gets to be a freshman again because of the bonus COVID year. That's his second career catch. He caught one last year at Duke.
Second time we've seen that little play in this drive. They ran it to the other side a couple plays ago. Just a hurry-up tempo play. You've got stacked receivers on both sides. The top receiver's a blocker. The second guy's just a little quick screen.
Michael Redding, the last catch. They like to play very fast, but they were never able to get a rhythm in the first half. They have one here to start the second half. Cameron Harris thrown down by Henry To'o. Chris Braswell in the game as well. Braswell backs up Will Anderson. We talked to Anderson the other day. He raved about Braswell. He said he is going to be an unbelievable pass rusher for Alabama. Sophomore from Baltimore.
Well, he's in there now, and the only negative thing of Alabama in this game right now is the status of Chris Allen, who went out early in the ball game, has not returned. You wonder what his status is.
Third down and 5. Can Harris has the first down and much more inside the 10. Jordan Battle finally got him down. Let's get a quick update on Chris Allen from Molly.
Yeah, Chris Allen is out for the game with a foot injury, guys.
he is an outstanding player. You hope that's not a serious injury. Braswell's going to get a lot of reps today.
On first and goal, Cameron Harris danced down to the 6, banged down by Daniel Wright. Daniel's the brother of Major Wright, who was a standout at Florida, played in the NFL with the Bears and Bucks.
And this is the part of the field where you think Will Mallory might factor into things for D'Eriq King. Here he is right here, number 85. Very talented tight end. D'Eriq King has a lot of confidence in him. Big target.
They fake the run to Cheney. And King throws it away.
Well defended by Alabama. They had the underneath, which was Mallory, and they had the deeper receiver in the end zone covered, and all D'Eriq King could do was throw that one away. You got to believe this is 4-down territory too. They went for the field goal at the end of the first half, but field goals don't do them any good at this point. So you got to believe Rhett Lashley's thinking 2 plays here to try to find a way into the end zone.
3rd and goal from the 6. Opening possession of the second half. Cheney down to the goal line, and they're marking him down short. Byron Young prevented the touchdown. They get over the ball very quickly. They are going to go for it on 4th down and goal from inside the 1. King to the goal line, and he did not get in.
Now that's a tough play. It's a quarterback sneak, but you're sneaking from 5 yards off the football. You're not under the center trying to sneak underneath the blocks. You're catching this ball 5 yards away. And by the time he gets towards the goal line, Alabama had won the line of scrimmage there and kept King clearly out of the end zone.
And that was the play on the previous play. Curious to see if Cheney got in.
Yeah.
Very clear, Donald Cheney did not get in. Remember, his knees down with the ball at the 1-yard line. And Miami did need to wait for a replay review to make sure they didn't score.
We talked about Will Anderson improving as a run defender. He was the first guy in the backfield pulling D'Eriq King back. Aggressive pylon cam gives us a great shot at that goal line. D'Eriq King does not get the ball to the goal line. Tremendous goal line stand by the Crimson Tide on a hurry-up play. They got lined up and still got the stop.
Alabama offense on the field for the first time in the second half. Brian Robinson out of the end zone. Gets them breathing room across the 5. Good leg tackle by Corey Couch.
Yeah, that was a really good tackle because Robinson had some space. If he doesn't get him on the ground, it's a first down easily for Alabama and breathing room for Bryce Young. As it is, that tackle brings up a 2nd down play.
Couch emerged late last year as a freshman. Manny Diaz said in the end here he was our best corner. Play fake to Robinson. Young in the end zone, in trouble, and throws it away. And will that be grounding in the end zone? The officials are talking about it.
Quarterback was outside the pocket.
They want a safety on the Miami sideline. The officials are going to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm sitting there looking at it. He definitely looked like he did get outside the tackle box. It was a delayed blitz by the linebacker from Miami that forced him out of the pocket. Nice defensive call of pressure by Manny Diaz as we wait for this decision.
The quarterback was outside the pocket and the ball went beyond the line of scrimmage. There is no foul for grounding. 3rd down.
I think the discussion was, did the ball cross the line of scrimmage? Because he clearly was outside the box. But watch the delayed rush by Corey Flagg, number 11. He slips in there untouched. They force him out.
The ball did get across the line of scrimmage too. The line of scrimmage, the 6.
Outside the pocket, and does the ball get across the line of scrimmage? Both were true, so no penalty.
I want to bring in Matt Austin if we can after this play to ask a question about mechanics of officiating. Young back in the end zone again on 3rd and 5. That question might have to wait because there goes Jamison Williams. to the house. Touchdown, Alabama. Manny Diaz screaming at the referee, Ron Snodgrass, but the replays seem to confirm that the officials got the play right on the previous play before this touchdown.
Well, just great separation on DJ Ivy.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 12. The blow to the head. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
You see the speed and the acceleration of Jamison Williams. Just got great separation out of a bunch formation, and the safety who could have been there to help was locked in on helping on John Metchie on the other side of the formation, and Williams ran free behind the defense.
Showing that great speed the coaches talked about. 94-yard play, the extra point good. And what a rapid turn of events. The goal line stand by Bama when Miami looked like it had scored a touchdown, and then this quick strike.
This is Williams. This is Metchie. This safety right here is going to get caught thinking the ball is going to go to Metchie. Watch him favor the short side of the field with Metchie instead of playing deep third. And the young quarterback made him pay for that mistake. Well, just think about what just happened. Right, Miami gets the ball to start the third quarter. They have a great drive. They come up short on third down. They go for it on fourth. They get stuffed. Now they've got them stopped, 3rd and 5, and they give up a long touchdown pass. What a turnaround in a short amount of time that stole any momentum Miami had and gave it right back to Alabama.
Kickoff from the 50 because of the roughing the passer penalty on the 4th touchdown of the day thrown by Bryce Young. So he is the record setter all by himself now. The Alabama record for quarterback touchdown passes in a debut, 4 by Bryce Young. Not shattering. I guess it is sort of shattering. The previous record set by Joe Namath and Mac Jones. A lot of football left. 9.5 to go, 3rd quarter. On the run, King, and it's dropped by Xavier Restrepo. If you're going to get hit hard, you might as well catch it. Brian Branch was there for Alabama.
The reason he was open is because De'Aaron King showed run. He was making that look like a quarterback sweep, which is a play that Miami runs with De'Aaron King. And then he loaded up to throw the football at the last minute.
Timeout, injured defensive player.
That's a ball that Restrepo needs to come down with.
Looks like Brian Branch is cramping. It'll give us a chance to remind you what's coming up next. Boy, one of the great first weekend, week 1 games in the history of college football. Number 5 Georgia, number 3 Clemson. From Charlotte. First meeting between those two since they split a home-and-home series back in 2013 and 2014. That's a neutral site. Athens about 194 miles away. Clemson 135 miles from Charlotte.
You know, it's pretty clear. It's been clear the last few years in college football that there are 3 teams that kind of have been a little bit above everybody. Alabama and Clemson, 2 of them. Ohio State, a 3rd one. Oklahoma is kind of right there, knocking at the door, and I think Georgia is the next one close to that. Take a look at the last 5 seasons, what those 4 teams have done, both in the wins, the college football playoff appearances, the national championships, and the fact that in all of those seasons, the most games they ever lost was 2. So there are no bad years, even though a 2-loss season in Alabama might be looked at as a really bad year.
Georgia's the one who seems to be kind of poised to join that group, and they just can't quite get there. They're exceedingly close. Maybe this is the year. Throw into traffic, batted around and intercepted by Malachi Moore. And there is a flag down at the 34-yard line.
Well, it was thrown into traffic. It was a big hit by To'o, and that might be a targeting call on To'o. The ball was out before Henry got there with the contact.
Well, I also think Michael Redding was being held before the ball got there.
Yep.
After the interception, illegal block in the back, intercepting team number 28. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Alabama.
Well, there's the Alabama version of the turnover, which
some Alabama people reached out to me at the half and said that they believe that actually predates the turnover chain. I'm not really a historian about, turnover related gadgets and gizmos and memorabilia or whatever we want to call it, so my apologies. Wasn't meaning to offend any school that might be the originator of this sort of thing. Do I have to read card 99? That was enough of an apology, was it, for anybody who might have been bothered? There's Javon Baker. I do want to go back to the sequence that you talked about when Miami didn't score, and then they thought there was a safety. The officials talked about it, and they never did rule it a safety. They, from the very beginning, said it's an incomplete pass, but Manny Diaz lost his mind and was screaming at Ron Snodgrass after the long touchdown by Alabama, basically saying that's on you.
But they had a third down play deep in Alabama's territory, and they've not stopped him yet. I mean, Alabama's 5 of 8 on third down today. Miami can't get off the field defensively. That's been the problem for them.
Well, I wanted to ask Matt Austin a question at the time, and then there was the touchdown. There's an incomplete pass. Matt, it was pretty clear. They have the O-to-O communication, the headsets, all the officials on the field where they can all talk to each other. In a situation like that, there might be a question about, is he out of the pocket? Did the ball go past the line of scrimmage? Can the replay official be in on that conversation without it really being an official replay stoppage?
Well, the quarterback being out of the pocket, that's 100% the referee's call, and technically he's not supposed to get help. Let's face it, if he's looking at something else and he needs help, hey, was he outside the pocket? I'm sure they've gotten help in the past. As far as the ball crossing the line of scrimmage, normally the line of scrimmage officials will handle that 100%. But again, anytime a ball crossing the line of scrimmage, that's reviewable, and certainly the communicator up in the booth will just call down, yes, the ball crossed the line of scrimmage. We don't need to have an official replay.
All right, Matt, thank you. Mike Conlon is the communicator for the replay booth today. Trey Sanders, now one of 4 running backs who's carried the ball. All 4 they anticipated playing have had a carry. Gervin Hall made the stop, and Alabama continues on the move. 1st and 10 at the Miami 29, leading 34-3.
Here comes Jaleel Billingsley for the first time in the game.
And Cameron Latu has had 2 touchdown receptions today. The first 2 catches of his career. Comes off the field. Bryce Young gives it to Sanders again. Big hole. And very near a first down. Well, this is a remade offensive line, but looking a lot like the line that won the Joe Moore Award as the best in the country last year.
Well, look at what Billingsley gets to do on the first play. He's in the ball game. You're the lead blocker, son. Get up in there, hit the linebacker, secure it for your running back. Did his job very nicely there.
He certainly looks the part. 6'4", 230 tight end, junior from Chicago, their first player from Illinois since the late 90s. Came up just short of the first down. Sanders again. Trey Sanders again. Touchdown again. 20 yards. And it's 40-3 with the extra point upcoming.
Great combination block. Watch the right tackle, Chris Owens, and the tight end, who's really a tackle, Kendall Randolph, 85. They just kind of combo there, seal the edge. He's got an escort of a wide receiver if he needs him. Didn't need him. The tight end and the tackle on the right side just cleared the area, and Trey Sanders ran to open space.
Reichard still perfect. Meanwhile, Christopher Allen back on the Alabama sideline with his right foot in the boot. Trey Sanders, sophomore from Florida, with the touchdown. It's 41-3. Alabama touchdown. That's Doug Marrone, the new offensive line coach, on the left. course, the last 4.5 seasons, he was the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but made his name in coaching as an offensive line coach, college and the NFL. And what a great guy to have working with a new offensive line.
How about the fact that you have 3 former NFL head coaches on the same college staff?
It's unbelievable.
At Alabama.
We have asked a lot of research people. Nobody can confirm that this is the first time that's happened, but you have to think it is. Of course, Nick Saban, 2 years as head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Bill O'Brien just arrived after 7 years with the Houston Texans. And Doug Marrone, former Syracuse head coach, also the head coach of the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's unbelievable. Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone are the best of friends and have been for a long time. They got to know each other here in Atlanta in the late 90s when they worked together as assistants on the Georgia Tech staff led by George O'Leary. Charleston Rambo, who runs out of bounds. And when Bill O'Brien got hired, Alabama was looking for an offensive line coach because Kyle Flood, who had that job last year, went to Texas with Steve Sarkisian. Here's Donald Chaney, looks to have the first down. So Bill O'Brien said, well, Doug Marrone's a great offensive line coach. Nick Saban said, you think he'd do it? Bill said, I'll ask him. So here they are back together again. In the case of Bill O'Brien, you know, he's been the offensive coordinator now for the greatest college coach of all time, Nick Saban, if you go by national championships won. Certainly he's in the conversation as among the greatest. And of course, Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator for Bill Belichick, who many believe is the greatest NFL coach of all time. And Coach O'Brien said he's really proud of that. Long ball for Restrepo, looking for a flag, and he's going to get it, it seems, with Malachi Moore running in coverage.
Pass interference, defense, number 13, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yes, unlike the one we had earlier in the first half that we thought was a bad call, that was a good call because Moore did actually reach out, initiate the contact, and did enough to impede the receiver from a path to the ball. And that's the key. For the rule to be in effect, he has to impede the receiver, and that's what he did.
The last kickoff for the touchback was off the foot of Jack Martin. He's right to the rest. He's a transfer from Troy. Made a good impression in camp. Charleston Rambo now to the 40-yard line. And Miami on the move again, down 41-3. Very disappointing game here for them. Incomplete pass. Nice play by Jalen Arbor-Davis. When we spoke to Manny Diaz during the week, Todd, he said, certainly we want to win. We think we're a much improved team. But at the very least, when we play teams like Clemson and Alabama and the really good teams in the country, we have to play at our best. We have to look like we belong in the game. And that didn't happen last year against Clemson, and it's not happening here today.
No, in the 3 games they lost last year, they gave up an average of 47 points. So their defense struggled. They have not beaten the #1 team. I know it's not on this coaching staff or these players. They haven't beaten a #1 team since 2000 when they beat Florida State.
Well, there are the losses you were talking about. The regular season, the combined 42 points allowed to Clemson, 62 to North Carolina. For the end zone for Restrepo. And a nice catch as he was fending off Brian Branch. And with some contact, it seemed still managed to make the catch, 29 yards. And the first career touchdown for Xavier Restrepo.
See, this is what we knew you had to do against Alabama. You got to make contested catches with tight coverage and hands on you, because Alabama does not concede anything. They're going to defend every play. You've got to make throws like this and catches like this.
Injured defensive player.
And that's the first real one we've seen for Miami. But it was a good one. Good throw and a good catch.
And the first touchdown of the season for Miami. First of his career for the freshman from Coconut Creek, Florida. He did play last year. Brian Branch, who had the coverage, is held off.
Second time he's cramped up, right?
Assuming that is a cramp situation. Probably is. Sometimes when you start cramping, it's tough to make that go away. Tough to get hydrated enough. De'Aaron King throws a touchdown pass, 29 yards. He's 21 for 26 for 168. That North Carolina game that we just showed on the screen was historically bad. That Miami defense against the Heels gave up 778 yards total and 554 rushing yards. Both were the worst in school history. Most yards rushing allowed, most total yards allowed.
Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, the two running backs North Carolina had last year, both not there now. Robert Gillespie is the running back coach at Alabama right now. He was the running back coach at North Carolina a year ago. Got a pretty good group to work with this year too.
Andy Borregales, the extra point, and it's 41-10. Looked like the Tar Heels missed those running backs last night. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, September signifies the beginning of college football, but it also signifies Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And this is very near and dear to the people at the Peach Bowl after their VP of Sales, Benji Hollis, lost his 6-year-old daughter to cancer. Now, Anna Charles Hollis inspired a $20 million donation, and the Peach Bowl Legacy Fund is sponsoring 5 ongoing clinical trials for pediatric cancer research. And here tonight are the Hollis family and the doctors whose research will save so many lives. And Anna Charles's father, Benji, told me he's honored that her life is continuing to have an impact. Sean.
That's a wonderful legacy. Incredibly sad. Good people at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, involved in a lot of charitable initiatives. And by the way, we do want to thank them for the Chick-fil-A delivered to our booth at halftime.
I mean, when you look in that heated container and it looks like a bottomless pit of sandwiches, that is like money.
Jaleel Billingsley, the tight end, returning to kickoffs as he did last year. And he's tackled as he crossed the 20. Chase Smith made the tackle for Miami. Actually, it's Michael Parrott. They have 2 41s. When we are the czars of college football, duplicate numbers will go away. You don't have more than 100 players out there. You're 99 possibilities. Let's just give everybody their own number. We'll continue to parrot that until it happens. See what we did there? Apparently not.
If a guy got a jersey with a triple-digit number on it, he would be in the transfer portal pretty quickly.
John Metchie knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 3. Bryce Young, not only the record, Todd, for touchdown passes in a debut, but also the record for most yards passing in a debut as Alabama quarterback, up to 304 now, with 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 22 out of 32 passing.
You know, we talked about Bill O'Brien taking the place of Steve Sarkisian. We talked about Doug Marrone. There's 4 different offensive coaches on this Alabama staff this year, and a bunch of new analysts. Sark took some guys with him when he went to Texas. So not only did they have to reload with 8 new starting players, they had to reload with 4 new coaches on the offensive side of the ball. And I'll tell you what, there's some good coaches and good players, because the execution level in game 1 of this Alabama offense has been pretty impressive.
His 94-yard touchdown pass is also the longest in a debut, the one to Jamison Williams. And it's tied for the second longest touchdown pass in school history. 99 yards, the record. A.J. McCarron to Amari Cooper at Auburn, November 30th of 2013. Young zings one. Cameron Latu. All of a sudden, he's Ozzie Newsome.
Well, he's been a reliable target today. He's a big body. You know, he started his career, he was an outside linebacker, defensive end. Just switched to tight end a couple years ago. And having a career kind of day today.
his first career catch that didn't go for a touchdown. Brian Robinson, another good tackle by Gervin Hall, the junior from West Palm Beach. He had a great camp, according to Manny Diaz.
Of course, remember Bubba Bolden, one of their real outstanding players, has been out of the ball game since early with the targeting foul that resulted in him being disqualified. And miss his presence for sure. Gervin were veteran safeties. Here's Bubba Bolden in street clothes.
Young got hit. The ball's loose. And it's recovered by Miami. Chance Williams, back up defensive end, knocked it out, and Jordan Miller tackle recovered.
A little inside stunt. Watch this guy right here come inside and then up into the pocket. There's also pressure here, but it's the inside stunt that doesn't get picked up and results in the fumble on the hit on Bryce Young. Well-designed stunt. Ball is out.
His arm did not appear to be coming forward. So they'll get the turnover chain. This time it's going to stick. They thought they had a turnover earlier. Got turned over on a replay review, correctly so. But this time Miller the recovery. Chance Williams, a freshman they think has a huge upside, made his presence felt. Out wide to Keyshawn Smith. Broke a tackle. Finally got taken down by Justin Boygby. Smith is repeating his freshman year. True freshman last year. Had 2 catches all season. He's been a factor today. Donald Chaney just shy of the first down.
Sean, Miami wide receiver Mike Harley spent time in the x-ray room. He is out for the game with an upper extremity injury, I'm told.
So that doesn't hinder him going forward, as he's the key part of their team. Chaney looked like he got just enough for the first down. He did.
Well, that explains why we're seeing Nestrepo so much too. He was the backup at that slot position to Harley. Getting a lot of action here now. Has the touchdown. Miami's only touchdown was his reception.
Rambo went in motion. King spun away from him. They set up a little screen to Donald Chaney. He's out of bounds just shy of 10. And then got walloped by Henry To'o. And it was To'o who came away from it worse off, grabbing at his right wrist.
Officials timeout, injured offensive player.
We wonder if when his hand hit the ground.
What a collision.
As he hits the ground, right arm crumples. I wonder if that could be a shoulder situation. Henry To'o transferred from Tennessee. He did not arrive until June. And yet when we talked with Pete Goldie, the defensive coordinator, yesterday, he said it was amazing how quickly he became a team leader and didn't come in with a big presence right away. Just got to know the guys. But he said shortly after he had arrived, he was organizing linebacker meetings. They were getting together to watch film. He became a team leader and is the signal caller on the defense now very quickly.
And that is so important in this Alabama defense, to have a good communicator, a good signal caller. And not only did it make the whole team better, in particular, it made the guy lined up next to him, Christian Harris, an even better player, because now Christian Harris, he can worry about playing will linebacker. He doesn't have to be the communicator. Henry To'o has taken that role on and has done a great job with it. Again, he played at Tennessee in the exact same defense when Jeremy Pruitt was the head coach there. So the transition was pretty smooth for him.
2nd and 6 from the 11. Miami on the move. They've looked better here on offense in the second half, and right on cue, an interception.
There is a flag down.
Daniel Wright picked it off if it stands. There is a flag down at the 3-yard line.
I think he was held. I think the intended receiver was held before the interception. They were looking for Rambo, and I think he was
Prior
grabbed.
to the pass, holding defense number 3. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
See, De'Aaron King had to double clutch on this. He couldn't throw it on time because of the hold. You're going to see right here, Daniel Wright reaches out and grabs him. De'Aaron King had to double clutch, and when he threw it, it was short, and the interception happened. But good call by the officials. De'Aaron King knew it right away.
So the drive continues, and it's 1st and goal Miami, down 41-10.
Little victories. Again, Sean, you're looking for anything to build on because this is game 1. It's not a conference game. Yes, it's disappointing, but you got a lot of football left. You got to get some good things happening to take home with.
King on the rollout, throws back over the middle. That is often dangerous, and it really was there. He's fortunate Josh Jobe didn't intercept it. And you're right, because with an eye toward the rest of the season, Miami is a team that is expected to compete in the Coastal Division. In the preseason ACC poll, they were picked 2nd behind North Carolina. And it was a North Carolina team that Mac Brown said might be overrated after his team lost to Virginia Tech last night.
A lot of football left. One game does not make a season, that's for sure, good or bad.
They try to slam Chaney up the middle on 2nd and goal. That didn't fool anybody. Phil Mathis there, 5th-year senior.
Right now you're seeing the pride in this veteran Alabama defense. There are no backups on the field other than Trey Sanders, who's in for Chris Allen. This is the first-team Alabama defense saying we do not want to give up any more points.
King, there's Will Anderson again. He got away from Anderson, but not from big Phil Mathis.
Anderson again. He's so disruptive. He's just too quick for the right guard. Navon Donaldson goes right by him. He doesn't get the sack, but he makes the quarterback move in the pocket, and Mathis is there for him.
We had a great chat with Phil Mathis the other day. He said, I really believe our pass rush will be better this year. We're more experienced. We have more talent. And boy, has the pass rush been a factor all day today. Here's a 28-yard field goal try by Andy Borregales, and it is good.
My 15 pounds during the football season when I work with you, but I already took care of the 15 pounds added over the summer. Hopefully you'll be able to go to a lot of these places and it won't be Todd's takeout of the town.
Yeah, we hope not. But you know, that's even part of the story too, visiting and revisiting some places that were affected by COVID and how they survived in their business, and hopefully we can tell some good stories with that as well.
Andy Borregales, the kickoff and a touchback. We're just getting started with this Labor Day weekend feast of college football. The headliner on the menu tonight, see what we did there, the Dukes Mayo Classic from Charlotte. 7:30, Georgia and Clemson. We are going to race back to the hotel to watch that one. Tomorrow night on ABC, 9th-ranked Notre Dame and Florida State, and then Monday night on ESPN, Louisville and Ole Miss will labor on Labor Day. All 3 games also available streaming live on the ESPN app. One app, one tap. Catchy new slogan.
A lot of new quarterbacks making their appearances this year, right? Notre Dame, Jake Cohn taking the place of Ian Book, who was a fixture there. Get to see Mackenzie Milton's return to college football for Florida State, which is such a great story.
He had a gruesome leg injury. He was starring at UCF. Jace McClellan, the ball carrier. That could be the last play of the quarter if Alabama wants it to be. And Bryce Young so alert to all of the circumstances. Was asking Nick Saban what he wanted to do.
End of the 3rd quarter.
Futures Initiative. In 2021, Chick-fil-A has invested $19 million in college scholarships, awarded nearly 7,500 of their team members, reinforcing Chick-fil-A's long-standing commitment to education and helping team members achieve their academic dreams. Congratulations to all.
A great addition. We're talking about the good folks at Chick-fil-A. Jace McClellan to the 30-yard line. Those team members, when you go to a Chick-fil-A, they are unfailingly polite.
Yes.
And remarkably well trained.
Yes. And the amazing thing to me is everyone I've ever been to. Part of the reason why I'm so excited to see this giant bag of them out here in our booth is anytime you go by one, right, the traffic
goes around
the building. But they are so efficient in getting you through there and getting the orders. It's unbelievable. It's quite a system.
Oh, it's true. We'd like to announce that Chick-fil-A has renewed its sponsorship with ESPN going forward. Thank you, Todd Blackledge. Jace McClellan is stacked up, and it looks like he might have the first down. Opening minute of the fourth quarter. Bryce Young still in there, but we believe we might see Paul Tyson at some point, who is the backup quarterback. We saw Bryce Young in the opener last year in Missouri when Mac Jones staked them to a pretty good lead. There's Tyson, so far best known as being the great-grandson of the legend Bear Bryant.
They have a number 3 quarterback that we may not see tonight, but he's going to play some this season also.
It's Treyshawn Holden. Taken down by DJ Ivey. He has a first down. Holden had a chance early to have his first career catch and dropped it. He hangs on that time. Good for a 12-yard gain. It is his first career catch. Georgia and Clemson coming up next on ABC.
Two teams that very much have a chance to be in the college football playoff picture, the conference championship picture. Outstanding rosters.
Trey Sanders out of bounds as he crossed midfield. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, time now for our celebration moment, brought to you by Allstate. Longhorns up 21-6 against the Raging Cajuns early in the third. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, not an easy opener for Steve Sarkisian.
That's a good football team, Louisiana. Well coached, Billy Napier, returning quarterback, a lot of starters. It's a team that beat Iowa State, and we knew how good they were. Made it to the Big 12 championship game. Beat them in the opener a year ago. So that's a pretty good start for Steve Sarkisian, the former Alabama offensive coordinator, in his first game.
JoJo Earl, the catch and run, taken down by Al Blades. Well, Steve Sarkisian deserves a lot of credit for what we're witnessing today from Bryce Young, who obviously was coached by Steve Sarkisian last year. Bryce told us he learned a lot, obviously, from Sark, and he learned a lot from Mac Jones, for whom he served as the backup last year. Just the way Mac, there's a nice play by Jared Harrison Hunt to take down Trey Sanders, took ownership of the team, the way he prepared, studied film related to his teammates. And Bryce Young told us he continues to keep in touch with Mac Jones. We asked him, is Mac excited to be the quarterback of the New England Patriots, #1? And he said, Mac's always excited.
What a story he was last year. Just kind of unbelievable ascension. Very similar to the way that Joe Burrow shot up the charts for LSU a couple years before that. Amazing stories.
Sidearm delivery to Javon Baker. DJ Ivey made the stop. Well, for a lot of Mac Jones's time at Alabama as he got ready, he had pretty good guys to emulate too, and Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. He talked about the influence they had on him.
You know, Jalen obviously finished his career playing for Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma and refined his game some. And I really think, you know, what he learned at both places prepared him to be an NFL quarterback, and now going to be the starter for the Philadelphia Eagles.
But with their successes, those three quarterbacks, with the way that they changed the offense, really under Lane Kiffin.
Yes, 2014.
Got them much more involved in the modern day passing game.
Defense, number 3, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty. We're down.
Gilbert Frierson guilty of the penalty. They're going to continue to get the top quarterback recruits in the country. And Bryce Young was committed to USC right down the street from where he grew up. And then his dad, Craig, said, I really do believe that Alabama will be the better place. No criticism intended toward USC. Just hard to argue what's going on at Alabama these days.
Well, and not just recruit top quarterbacks, but top receivers. And again, when Lane Kiffin changed the Alabama offense and the way they were going to play, now they started getting guys like Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley and Jerry Jeudy. And at first it was just one premier wide receiver that caught all the balls. And then the next closest receiver maybe had a dozen. Now they've got 2 or 3 guys that are catching in excess of 50 balls and are getting drafted in the first round. So they are going to continue to recruit quarterbacks and wide receivers at a ridiculous pace.
Chase Mcclellan, after his 6-yard catch, got them the first down. And a helmet lost on Chris Owens, the center. Well, here's how the offense has changed as they got into the RPO game and all that comes with it. Last 3 seasons, 47 points per game because the passing yards went from 221 per game to 340 and a half.
And you really have to credit Nick Saban for his willingness to adapt and adjust, because he's always going to be a defensive-minded guy who wants to play great defense and gets frustrated with blown assignments and missed calls on defense. But he knew you have to outscore people. You have to be able to score now to not only beat the best teams in your league, but to win playoff games and win national championships. And so he made that change.
McClellan carried again. And when we talked with Bill O'Brien yesterday and with Nick Saban about what is going to be the offensive approach now with a new offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien. And Nick Saban said, we want to do the same things we've been doing. Bill O'Brien is a terrific coach. He's obviously going to put some of his own stamp on it, add some new wrinkles, but we're going to keep doing what we've been doing. And with that in mind, Bill O'Brien told us he learned the Alabama system, including all of the terminology that they have used here the last few years, none of which he was familiar with. He said Mac Jones was actually a big part of helping him learn the system and the terminology. Nice debut for Bill O'Brien, too. Did go well with your Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, really good. A little Duke's mayo on there, and we're good to go.
Chase Mcclellan dropped for a loss. James Williams, another freshman backup safety. Jared Harrison Hunt, who they think is going to be an emerging presence as the season goes along. Harrison Hunt, defensive tackle, played 2 years of high school football. He played basketball at a great program in New York City, Christ the King. There's Will Reichard. This would be a 40-yard try. And it is good. And it's 44-13. Alabama on its way to victory on this opening weekend. 7:52 to go.
Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
Thanks for having me, Scott. I am such a fan.
Tony!
Najee!
It'll be Jack Martin to kick off again. The transfer from Troy. Junior out of Dothan, Alabama. Out of bounds. That'll be an Alabama penalty. Let's check in on the field with Todd McShay.
Yeah, watching Will Anderson tonight was a lot of fun. I think he's the best defensive player on a great defense. You see the ability to bend there, then his hand usage and just his effort, and then finally the ability to work from outside in and disrupt. He had 7 sacks a year ago. This year, I think you have double-digit sacks, and it doesn't matter as long as he's disrupting at the level that he is right now. It's going to be Nick Saban's best player on the defensive side.
When we spoke with Will the other day, he said at the beginning of last year he was playing a little safe. There's a pass over the middle, ricocheted and intercepted. Jalen Moody has it for Alabama. Jalen Moody with flags flying, probably for an illegal block on the return, goes out of bounds. Jalen Moody, the interception. Senior from Conway, South Carolina. And a backup player at Alabama. I think the interception's going to count. Then it looked like there was a penalty on the return.
Well, a fairly clean pocket that time. There was some late pressure by Jamil Burroughs, number 98, but you know, Todd was talking about the turnover, or about the sacks and the impact of Will Anderson. And the reality is, in 2015, when Alabama had 54 sacks, which is the most they've had, it goes hand in hand with creating takeaways too. They also had 29 forced turnovers that year as well. So the pressure leads to bad decisions,
on
bad
the play.
throws.
Personal foul, illegal low block on the passing team, number 1. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, blindside block on the intercepting team. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Alabama.
So the interception, first of his career, stands for Jalen
Timeout
Moody.
on the field.
And it's the third Miami turnover, the second interception thrown by De'Aaron King. Midway through the fourth quarter, Alabama up 44-13. 7,000 homes and businesses in Louisiana remain without power. Some might be without it for at least a month. Paul Tyson is the new quarterback. Trey Sanders, the running back. Of course, there was massive flooding up in our part of the country in the Northeast. Tulane football team affected by it, and they were so grateful to Alabama. Nick Saban opened up Alabama's indoor facility this week so Tulane could practice there. They were supposed to play at home in New Orleans against Oklahoma. The game moved to Norman, and a great performance by Tulane in Norman today. They lost 40-35, but right in it all the way to the end, as you saw earlier today on ABC. redcross.org/ESPN. Trey Sanders gets the call again.
You mentioned Tyson in, some backup skill people. Still the first team offensive line in right now for Alabama. The big dudes. Doug Marone's group still on the field with the backup quarterback. Alabama gets Mercer next week. We'll probably be able to rest some of these guys, play some of their other backups that are not playing. As we saw that first team defense mostly the whole game.
Mercer.
Have mercy on Mercer.
Yes, I was just thinking that. Paul Tyson tossed it back to Trey Sanders. Gets gang tackle led by Nesta Jade Silvera. Here are this week's college football rankings brought to you by PlayStation. Alabama #1. And if anything, they will receive more first place votes than they did in the preseason poll. Oklahoma, I think they're a candidate to get passed by the winner of that Clemson-Georgia game tonight. Ohio State had to fend off Minnesota. That was a terrific game to watch Thursday night. Alabama looking very much like the #1 team in the country. Here's James Burnip, the new Alabama punter. He's from Australia. It's the first football game he's ever participated in. And somebody asked Nick Saban about Burnip's first football game. He said, we didn't bring him here to play football. We brought him here to punt.
Timeout on the field.
Just kick the ball, babe. Just kick the ball.
Nick kind of cracked himself up.
He did.
Said that,
he
too.
liked that one.
5:21 to go.
Drop the mic, Nick.
Still to come on this Labor Day weekend, week 1 of college football. Tonight at 7:30. About a half hour away, Georgia and Clemson, the headline game of this early college football season. Notre Dame and Florida State tomorrow night. And Louisville and Ole Miss back here in this stadium on Monday night. Tyler Van Dyke is the new quarterback now for Miami. Freshman from Glastonbury, Connecticut. They're very high on him. Got into 2 games last year, and he's still a freshman because they give you the extra year for COVID. played briefly against the Florida State in a one-sided win, and North Carolina in a one-sided loss.
Well, they've got two young quarterbacks behind De'Aaron King, Jake Garcia, another freshman, and the good thing for both of them is they got a lot of reps in the spring because De'Aaron King was out of spring football, still rehabbing with his knee. So Van Dyke and Garcia got a lot of reps. Van Dyke with a little more experience, and why he's the #2 guy right now. There's Garcia.
De'Aaron King finished 23 for 30 for 179, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. By that relentless Alabama pass rush, which sacked him 4 times. Or the intended receiver, Will Mallory. It's incomplete. And it's a quick 3 and out for Tyler Van Dyke and the Miami offense. Afraid that Miami offensive line is still going to be a problem.
Well, against a team like this, you know, I mean, against the better teams on their schedule.
Which is a good point, because there aren't too many teams like this.
No, there aren't. I mean, this is
not be any.
They're not going to face teams this strong on defense week in and week out in their league or any league. So this was the truest test, probably the best test they will have all season when it comes to that.
Here's Lou Headley. Another excellent punt. Slade Bolden on the return. He's down to the 34. Flag down, 54-yard punt by Headley. He chose that number 94 he wears, by the way, because he's a big fan of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and that's the number he wore when he played for the Miami Hurricanes. How about those tattoos? I mean, there's not a lot of space left. Awaiting the critical ruling here.
I made the point about not facing another team of this caliber. I mean, Clemson is not on Miami's schedule this year in the regular season. So this is clearly by far the best defensive front seven that they're going to face all year.
Boys, we got Clemson and Georgia coming up next. You all have a headset. Figure it out.
Three fouls on the return team.
That's why, no wonder.
Holding, number 38. That penalty's declined. Offsides, defense. That penalty's declined.
Never mind the number.
Holding, return team.
That's a lot to
Number
remember.
36, 10-yard, 26, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Now, Matt, they have headsets on. Somebody's got to help, right? Somebody's going to blurt the number back into his headset when he's. That's why we wear headsets, so people in the truck can help us when we're flailing, which is frequently.
It is nice to have somebody on the field who can feed you those numbers, but I've been there, and sometimes the process breaks down, and you're on an island, so it's not fun.
No, I'm sure. Well, it's been a well-officiated game. 3:58 to go. Now they're figuring out where to put the ball. It'll be Paul Tyson back out there. We mentioned earlier he's best known for being the great-grandson of Bear Bryant. But, you know, he's not on this team because he's Bear Bryant's great-grandson. He is a very talented player. He was a 4-star prospect in most of the major outlets coming out of high school. Newer Trussville High School. He's from Trussville, Alabama. He selected Alabama, but he had offers from Arkansas, Duke, and Kentucky, among others. Operates out of the pistol and gave it to Roy Dale Williams. What a day in his first start for Bryce Young. Alabama records for passing yards in a debut, 344, and 4 touchdown passes, also the Bama record in a debut. Surpassing the 3 put up by Joe Namath and Mac Jones when they made their first starts for Alabama.
If there was any question of whether the stage was going to be too big for Bryce Young, the answer was a resounding no. He was ready for this moment, ready for the game. Very well schooled, very well coached coming in. Great poise, great understanding, and then of course the skill set is as good as there is in college football.
See why he was considered the #1 dual threat quarterback coming out of high school, modern day. in Southern California. So poised. He was so impressive.
Yeah.
You know, he's become kind of the face, not by his choosing, obviously, of this name, image, and likeness. Nick Saban revealed when speaking to some Texas high school football coaches that Bryce Young, and this was a while ago, had already received about $800,000 worth of deals through the name, image, and likeness. And when we asked Bryce about that the other day, he kept steering it back to, that's Ajay Hall who had made the catch. He kept steering it back to Coach Saban tells us, take care of that when you're not in the building. Right. He said, I have people take care of it for me. It's not on my mind at all.
Defense, number
when
12,
I'm in the building,
15-yard penalty from the end of the play, automatic first down.
Jafari Harvey called for the penalty. And he really is. I mean, you couldn't be any more laser focused and locked in than he was today.
Well, and I think he understands clearly also that, you know, what his first priorities are. You know, I mean, it's to be the quarterback of the Alabama football team. It's to go to school. It's, you know, those things, those other things will take care of themselves. And like he said, he's got a team that monitors that, takes care of that. He doesn't want to be bothered it. I've also heard by some accounts that he's turned down as much as he accepted. I mean, he could have had way more than that.
Well, and
you know?
that 800,000 was a while ago.
Yes.
We also heard that it's probably more than that. You know, and good for him. It's obviously life-changing money for anybody. Is for he and his family. Tyson handed it off to Roydell Williams. Burst of speed along the near sideline. He's across midfield. And he was beautifully protected by that offensive line. I think the new coaches have blended in very nicely. Terrific play calling by Bill O'Brien.
Now we got Jalen Milroe coming in. He's the number 3 quarterback, but there's a lot of buzz about him, Sean. He's a freshman, 6'2", 212 pounds out of Katy, Texas. Can really fly. I mean, he's a more gifted runner than passer, but he is talented. And I would not be surprised, obviously it doesn't matter today, but down the road, if he's not involved in Bill O'Brien's offense in some form or fashion, in the red zone, in some quarterback run things where they don't have to ask Bryce Young to do that, even though he can. This is a guy who's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, and I would not be surprised to see that wrinkle in the Alabama offense as this season unfolds.
Well, it's remarkable how well Alabama recruits. It's hard to imagine that their offense this year could be, I hate to say it, but anywhere near as good as last year, and yet that was an outstanding performance we watched today. There might not be an offense anywhere in college football for a very long time that is as good as what we saw from Alabama last year. I think we've seen today, led by this man, this offense is certainly good enough to win a national championship combined with this defense and a great coaching staff. But there are other teams in the conversation, and 2 of them are in the on-deck circle. In Charlotte, Georgia and Clemson in a matter of moments. This will likely be the last play of the game. Zach McLeod made the tackle on Jalen Milroe. Turn it over on downs, so there will be one more snap at least. Alabama opens with 507 yards of total offense. Actually, now they just updated the monitor. 500 yards right on the button. 353 passing, 147 rushing. Young 27 out of 38 for 344, 4 touchdowns and no interception. The defense made life miserable for De'Aaron King for most of the day. So it's Mercer next week, but then back into the fire at Florida on September 18th for Alabama. Tyler Van Dyke takes off running, gets run down from behind. Kendrick Blackshear made the tackle. And Tyler Van Dyke and Manny Diaz say that's enough. Nick Saban a winner. He's now 15-0 in openers at Alabama, and similar to years gone by, average margin of victory in those other wins on opening day by 29 points. And today they win by 31. Final score, Alabama 44, Miami 13. Todd Blackledge, Molly McGrath, Todd McShay, and our great crew led by Josh Hoffman and Scott Johnson. Sean McDonough
for this moment.
Really the work we put in the offseason. I feel like we prepared so well. Saban had us ready. We had a really good game plan coming in, and we worked hard. We have a lot of trust in our staff, in our process, in our workouts. So for us, it wasn't really much pressure because we knew we put the work in.
So many new players stepping into the spotlight, guys like Cameron Latu and Jameson Williams really stepping up big today. How was your offense able to be so successful with so many new pieces in place?
Yeah, I think that's really a testament to our coaching staff and how hard working these guys are that are coming in. We had a lot of new people that had to fill new roles this year, and the coaching staff did a great job of getting us all ready. And us just in the offseason, those guys worked out tremendously hard in the offseason. They do a lot of work, behind the scenes that not everybody gets to see. So our coaching staff does a great job, and those guys work their butts off.
I don't know if you know this, but you broke a couple school records tonight for touchdown passes in a debut and passing yards in a debut. What is your reaction to already being a part of Alabama's record book so early on in your career?
Yeah, it's a blessing for sure. That's not something I take lightly. There's been a lot of greats that have played here. But really it's a testament to my teammates and the coaching staff. The line did an amazing job blocking for me. And for the running game today, they were great up front. The receivers did a great job of getting open, making my life easier. The running backs helped me in the running game and in protection. So really it's a testament to my teammates. And OB called a great game. And Saban, of course, did a great job. So it's really a testament to them.
All right, congrats on the win. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Molly, thank you with Bryce Young. So this is the history of Alabama in the last few years.
Pretty good.
Yeah, 3 NFL starters in Hurts, Tagovailoa, and now Mac Jones with the Patriots. And now it's Bryce Young just following in. And one guy who's feeling good? I can only imagine it's Nick Saban. Look at this afterwards. Oh, look at this smile.
The raw smile.
Oh, that is a good moment right there. And he could do that after a 31-point win. Boog, it's not fair. I mean, they had 6 guys get taken in the first round, 5 on the offensive side, and they just reload, putting up 44 points in Bryce Young's debut.
Here's the thing, so much turnover, not only on the field, but off the field with the coaching staff. New offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian is now in Texas. You have Bill O'Brien, who is the new offensive coordinator, and a new quarterback in Bryce Young. But guess what? Nothing changes. 500 yards of offense. He looked cool, calm for a guy making his first start. That's amazing.
Now, listen, there's a ton of programs. We're going to watch 2 of them tonight who get 5-star recruits.
Yes.
The difference you feel is Bama's competition, their biggest one, is in practice against each other, and that's how they get better week in and week out.
Saban always talks about the opponent is ourselves. The standard here is the standard. We want to make sure we play to that standard, and as long as they do that, Kev, it's going to be tough to beat them.
Well, Bama looking fantastic. We will see how Georgia and Clemson respond later on tonight. Meanwhile, earlier today, we had a top 25 matchup in the Big Ten. A couple of them. Let's start in Madison. Wisconsin hosting Penn State. Sean Clifford, 3rd straight year with a different offensive coordinator. Just throw the ball up, and you'll find Jahan Dotson.
Especially when Wisconsin blows the coverage. That's an easy touchdown, Kev.
Ches Malusi, former Clemson running back, going in for Wisconsin.
Should have ran the ball more. 180 yards rushing. They needed more of this from Whiskey.
You talked about running the football, and this is in the 4th quarter tie game. Noah Cain going in. They missed the extra point, the 6-point contest.
Yeah, Cain's supposed to be the next great one. We'll see.
This cannot happen, though. In the red zone, just over 2 minutes to go, and Graham Mertz was picked off twice in the final 2.5 minutes.
Too many times it happened. Wisconsin got down there, and Graham Mertz made ill-advised throws, and it cost them.
A year after starting 0-5, Penn State now 1-0. 16 straight home openers for Wisconsin wins. That is snapped as Penn State's beaten Wisconsin now 5 straight times. Iowa hosting Indiana. Another top 25 showdown. This young man is fantastic, Tyler Goodson.
Have you ever gone to a track meet? That was a 100-meter dash. Because nobody got in this way. Nobody touched it.
No one. And, you had that feel-good Tom Allen season from Indiana, led by Michael Penix. He's not feeling good right now.
No, Michael Penix, good throw. But the receiver, catch the football. That's your job description. It bounces off. Touchdown.
Pick 6 for Riley Moss, and Iowa at Kinnick, they are rocking and feeling good. Penix again here, and it's Moss again with the real estate. Woo, that's a dream for a D-back.
Can't be late and outside. Penix, he knows that. Easy walk-in touchdown for the Hawkeyes.
Impressive performance for Iowa. They got Iowa State next weekend on ABC, 4:30 Eastern, and Iowa State, they are in a battle right now against Northern Iowa, favored by 28.5 points, only up by 6 in the fourth. Debut, Steve Sarkisian at Texas. And it was a packed house in Austin, taking on number 23, Louisiana. Hudson Card, the best player on the field, Bijan Robinson, to get him the ball.
And if you're not going to hand it to him, throw it to him against this Louisiana team that was everyone's trendy pick today.
They had 10 players back on the offensive side from a year ago, a top 25 team represent the Sun Belt. But you see Card right there to Cade Brewer, and then Robinson again. Just get him the football. Good things happen.
One of the best running backs in the country. Hopefully he gets talked about for the Dope Walker Award.
35-18 in the fourth quarter. Oklahoma. Okay, game was moved to Norman due to Hurricane Ida affecting Tulane. And early on, Kennedy Brooks opted out a year ago, runs up the middle. Oklahoma up by 7. Spencer Rattler, the short passing game was really the key for him.
Yeah, that was him. Get the ball out of his hands. Don't allow him to think, and get the ball to your playmaker.
Okay, now, you see Mario Williams there, but here comes Tulane. I mean, they got some fight here. Down 12. I am William Wallace. Finding freedom in the end zone. Tulane down by 5. They would recover the onside kick on the last shot. But Pratt here on 4th down.
It's 4th and 13. And if you're Pratt, throw the football. You play so well all day, you can't dive 7 yards, young man.
Oklahoma's defense bends, but they don't break, winning this one 40-35. Again, a credit to Tulane, what they had to deal with the adversity. Yeah. In the second half, you were just sitting there and you're saying, well, okay, Oklahoma's turned things around. Alex Grinch. And then here comes Tulane making this a tight one in Norman.
Well, early on, Spencer Rattler came out and threw an interception early. Then the offense got rolling. And you expected that Oklahoma defense to settle down. But then it was the same old defense, giving up big plays, missed tackling. You would think that this Alex Grinch defense will be further along. They have a lot they need to go back and fix on the drawing board.
Okay, we will see how this continues to play out. Their toughest game, November 20th on the schedule, and that is Iowa State. How about Michigan? 2 wins last year.
Big house.
Big house, and they were feeling good against Western Michigan. And maybe Jim Harbaugh has finally found the quarterback in Cade McNamara.
After all these years, I don't know, but that was a great play design. A little lead screen there, easy touchdown.
Blake Corum going in off that screen, 7-0. Michigan, and then the big play, the explosion from his offense. Ronnie Bell, bye-bye.
Nice little slot fade there, stacked the cornerback. They won that one on recruiting day because my receiver is better than your DB.
76 yards to the house. Ronnie Bell, though, would leave the game later on due to a leg injury, would not return. Again, the explosive play calling here. This is A.J. Henning to the house.
Little play action inside, big play on the reverse, and nice down the sideline. Nice little scheme there by Harbaugh. Good to see the explosive plays back in Ann Arbor.
334 rushing yards. They win 47-14. Cincinnati, meanwhile, just rolling. Luke Fickell and Desmond Ritter. They got a machine for them. Key for them, being ranked inside the top 10 as part of the group of 5 to start the season. Building that momentum because they have some key games later on to help with the scheduling.
People recognize them as one of the better teams in the country now. They don't have to fight for respectability. They have that already.
That's a big thank you to Boise State and UCF in years past, right? Let's go to the Pac-12, and you held your breath there with Oregon because Fresno State was not backing down. Kayvon Thibodeau, the stud there on the defensive line, left the game, was in 31-24. USC, though, we thought this was going to be a close game. It is right now against San Jose State.
Yeah, definitely a close game. They got to get ready to go out there in Southern Cal, but Kayvon Thibodeau, hopefully he's ready to go against Ohio State, the best player in the country.
Okay, USC with that slim lead. We are just over 20 minutes away from Georgia. Clemson kicking off in Charlotte. And, of course, Booger and I will get you ready for that contest. More after this.
Dear kids, I think we can all agree your return to school isn't how we imagined it. Thanks for showing up or logging on. Thanks for following the old rules and the strange new ones. And for being smart and staying safe. It may not feel like it now, but maybe this is greatness in training. Thank you for going all in.
The those who came before us, who made us who we are today. Everything you need is already inside of you.
There's no going back.
It's time to show the world who I really am.
Hell yeah.
Marvel Studios Shang-Chi, rated PG-13.
2 weeks ago, you were parking cars, and you're now saving the world.
Yeah. In theaters now.
It's time to upgrade your heating and cooling system with the experts at ABC. For a limited time, buy an AC, get your furnace free. Yes, free, including professional installation. Financing is available. Payments as low as $57 per month. Just $57 per month. So don't wait. Replace your old air conditioner with ABC and save. Buy one, get one free with ABC, and consider it done.
It's our biggest Labor Day sale ever, only at the Room Place. One day, Sunday, save up to 50% store-wide. And for the first time ever, save with an extra 25% off your entire purchase. Plus, 0% for 5 years and no down payment. Get free DeLonghi espresso machines, Apple Watches, and TVs. It's our biggest Labor Day sale ever, only at the Room Place, Chicagoland's new #1 furniture store. One day, Sunday, 11 to 6.
Live from Chicago's #1 news, you're watching ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Eyewitness News Update. I'm Terrell Brown. A $4,000 reward is now being offered for information leading to the arrest of the person who shot Travell Miller Gilmore. Miller Gilmore was killed earlier this week. Someone shot him while he drove his 7-year-old daughter to school. It happened at the corner of Chicago and Sacramento. His mother says she was on the phone with him and heard it happen. Police have released surveillance video and images that they're looking for right now. A donation drive today is aimed at helping Afghan refugees coming to Chicago. Items collected will be used to create kits, including food, kitchen supplies, and bedding. Right now, refugee resettlement groups are expecting more than 500 people. This weekend marks the special grand opening of the National Pullman Monument. A workers' strike in 1894 in the Pullman neighborhood led to that movement. More on that coming up a little bit later on tonight. In the meantime, let's talk about the forecast today. Larry, it's been cloudy out there. We're going to get a break anytime soon?
Well, tomorrow we will. We're going to get a lot of sunshine tomorrow, but a gray start to our weekend. Not a lot of rain has fallen from these clouds, but there are some stray showers starting to show up now on the radar. And as we go through the course of the afternoon and the rest of the evening, a few sprinkles will be possible. You can see them right here on Live Doppler 7 Max radar. Around Bloomingdale, back towards Schaumburg, stretching all the way back towards Elgin. A little light rain coming through. Same up towards Wheeling. This is kind of the last gasp of this system that's brought us all the cloud cover today. Tomorrow, skies will clear out. We'll get a lot of sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures low 70s, even 69 right now in Woodstock. Tonight's going to be a cool night. Once the skies clear, we'll drop into the 50s and low 60s here in the city. And then tomorrow, a gorgeous day. Lots of sunshine, high temperatures, up around 80 degrees. It will be a bit breezy, but a beautiful day tomorrow. And Monday for Labor Day, looking really nice as well with high temperatures in the low 80s on Monday. Tuesday will be warmer and windy, a few storms possible, but then nice weather returns Wednesday all the way through Saturday. Terrell?
Looks good. All right, Larry, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Remember, you can watch the news anytime on our website and our free news app. And Eyewitness News is back tonight right after the Georgia Bulldogs Clemson Tigers game right here on ABC 7. We'll see you then.
Boost and Cricket charge more for unlimited 5G. Metro doesn't. Introducing the big 5G upgrade. Just $25 a month gets you unlimited 5G and a free 5G smartphone. That's half the price for one line of unlimited 5G smartphone data. Plus a free Samsung Galaxy 5G when you switch and trade in. All with the power of the T-Mobile 5G network. Rule your day with 5G. Only at Metro.
This
Labor Day, put an end to junk sleep. Right now at Mattress Firm, save up to $500 on our top-rated brands when you get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend $6.99 on Sealy. Or take advantage of Tempur-Pedic's biggest sale of the year and save up to $700 on adjustable mattress sets. With our highly trained sleep experts and our low price guarantee, you can rest assured you'll get the best bed at the best price. Unjunk your sleep, only at Mattress Firm.
You are about to go on a journey. Part of the healing is finding the wound.
I keep on seeing things that I don't want to face.
I get sick of it. Just pretending.
I'm just afraid. Look around you. Everybody's afraid. I'm ready. And off we go.
Place your legal sports bets at BetRivers.com. Your new home for sports betting. Millions of betting options a year on the sports you love. We offer live in-game betting on major sporting events worldwide. We have tons of bets available during games, from money lines, point spreads, prop bets, play-by-play bets, and many more. BetRivers.com offers live streaming of events worldwide. That's right. You can bet on the game as you're watching. Sign up now, and we'll match your first deposit up to $250. More bets, more action, more fun. Place your sports bets at BetRivers.com.
The following is a presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Just a flawless evening in Charlotte. Welcome to the Dukes Mayo Classic on ABC, presented by Capital One. You can feel it here in the air tonight. College football, unfiltered, unmuted, bright, technicolor, high decibel. We have all waited for this. A top 5 collision to kick off the season. SEC, ACC, the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Clemson Tigers. Feels special and rare, and this is an age-old border rivalry to boot. Folks, welcome to our season debut. Welcome to Charlotte. Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. So grateful to begin our 26th season together in this project with a game like this. We know that COVID has not been conquered. We know folks are facing challenge all around the country. But tonight, for the folks here, maybe for you at home, it just feels like that is set aside a little bit, and this is a celebration of everything we love about this game.
Yeah, the passion, the energy that was missing last year as far as stadiums were concerned. We've been watching football since Thursday night, and we've seen these crowds. And now to walk into this stadium here in Charlotte, 2 incredible fan bases with Georgia and Clemson, and to get out there for pregame warm-ups. The coaches came over to us, almost tackled us. They're feeling that same energy, and I know these players are too. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Ton of talent on both sides, but also some questions. The last time we saw Clemson, they were getting destroyed by Ohio State in the playoff semifinal game. James Skalski kicked out for targeting for a second time in the playoff. Justin Fields and the Buckeyes offense, 7 touchdowns, 600+ yards, and Trevor Lawrence was just hounded. Of course, Lawrence moves on to Jacksonville along with Travis Etienne, and the top 2 receivers from a year ago, Amari Rodgers, Cornell Powell, are gone. But don't pity Clemson. They have reloaded themselves here. DJ Uiagalelei was terrific in 2 emergency starts. Now he's got the keys to the car. Will Shipley is a freshman from here in Charlotte. Justin Ross is back after spinal surgery, and they got a whole squadron of receivers over there in orange.
Yeah, they lost a lot, obviously. Not just Trevor Lawrence, and DJ Uiagalelei steps in. Travis Etienne's a significant loss, and anxious to see it's kind of a stable. Maybe Shipley, the freshman, gets an opportunity, but it's going to be a different attack. DJ brings a different set of skills. Of course, he's got the big arm, but I think his running style, all the way back to Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, they were legit threats running the ball. He's more of a physical, almost like a tight end. How do they utilize him in the run game and play action? Because they got to make plays vertically in their pass game to win tonight.
If they get big picture, the loser's not out of the playoff picture. They just have no margin for error, and that might put even more pressure on Georgia. You know the recent history of the Dogs. The monster recruiting class is so close to a championship in 7 2017, lost in overtime to Bama, lost the rematch, got clobbered by LSU in Atlanta, and then lost the division to Florida. They are picked to win the East this year. If they get out of this one, they're rolling forward.
I would defend Kirby and say they've been close. I mean, to climb the mountain, you need to stay healthy and catch breaks. He's got a quarterback in Chase Daniels. We got a taste of him last year. 4 games after he recovered from the knee, and he was electric. Had the whole offseason to build their offense around him. They're confident they get off to a hot start against a great team tonight in Clemson.
The energy we know is so refreshing. It's also something new. About half of each of these rosters has never played in a big game in front of a full house. Can't wait to see what happens. Dogs and Tigers straight ahead.
Having a top 5 game coming out the gate is what we came to Georgia for. All the fans are back. Clemson, you don't want to play any better team. The winning team gets a real shot of momentum. At the end of the season, this will be a game that's talked about.
The Nissan pregame drive is next, after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
New customers get our best deals on all smartphones.
That's right.
But what if I'm already a customer?
Oh, no problem. Hey, Cam.
Same deal.
Yeah, it's kind of our thing.
Oh, it's a great deal. What if I'm new to AT&T?
Cam, can...
Oh, nice.
Hey, but what about for existing customers?
Same deal.
Is he okay?
It's not complicated. With AT&T, everyone can ace back to school with our best deals on every smartphone, like the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 5G.
We've already foreseen 2 amazing choices. The rest of the cast will blow you away.
Tune into GMA Wednesday, when all will be revealed, and the dancing premieres September 20th on ABC.
You've been injured in a car accident. You can't work, medical bills are piling up, and you're angry. Don't get mad, get justice. Our team of auto injury attorneys will take on big insurance and get you the most money fast. Over the past 25 years, our team has settled 25,000 injury cases for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Call now to find out if you have a case so you can receive maximum compensation.
And that matters. Malman Law. We know what matters most.
At Patrick, your experience starts with our promise. Better selection, better savings. And with Patrick Direct, shop online with contactless delivery. It's a Patrick thing. Visit PatrickCars.com.
That's the Patrick promise.
For a limited time with ABC, buy an AC, get your furnace free, including professional installation. Payments as low as $57 per month. Buy one, get one free with ABC. And consider it done.
Where should you start when you're told you have cancer? Start with getting a second opinion at Cancer Treatment Centers of America, where nearly 7 out of 10 patients choose to treat with us after a second opinion. Get advanced diagnostics and precision treatment options from our team of experts who treat only cancer, and learn about treatment options you may not know exist. Because a second opinion might be the right one. Call now.
Sky Map 7, only on ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Room with Big Al. See how excited he is? He's been doing it all day. Great. I love Big Al.
Welcome to the Nissan pregame drive. Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Tigers and the Dogs, no doubt the showcase game of this long holiday weekend, but it has been something we haven't seen in the sport in a long time. Good games beginning on Thursday, and today a Big Ten collision in Madison. Penn State went on the road, conquered the crowd in a defensive struggle. Scoreless at halftime, Kurt. Noah Kane broke a 10-10 tie, but they missed the point, and the Lions defense had to hang on.
Yeah, the defense played great all game. Wisconsin coming up with a drive late, and it took Year Brown right here to secure the victory. Comes up with the interception. Penn State's defense, the difference in the red zone today to give the Lions a win. Camp Randall.
Penn State hosting Auburn coming up. Meanwhile, Alabama and Miami and Atlanta, and the Crimson Tide reloading. Don't miss a beat. Bryce Young in his first game. Looks like he's played the game for 12 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, we knew this team would be great defensively. This would be one of Nick Saban's best. But the offense, with Bill Bryant coming back from the NFL, Bryce Young, a new quarterback, here a transfer from Ohio State, Jameson Williams, for a touchdown. They look like midseason form. Lost all that production, second most in all of college football. There's Nick Saban jogging out to the 50 to meet Manny after another win.
Bryce Young, 4 touchdown passes in the first half. But number 2, Oklahoma, 2 picks by Rattler. He threw for 300, but they gave up a ton of yards to Tulane. Iowa looks really good.
They really do, and the Ducks held on, got pushed. We thought they might get a test from Fresno State. They hold on. They head to Columbus next week to take on Ohio State.
All the charged up emotions tonight, but a couple of guys extra incentive because they come from right here in Charlotte. Trenton Simpson is an edge pass rusher for Clemson, number 22. Keep an eye on him tonight. He will try to wreak havoc on JT Daniels in the pocket. You can see what it means on his face to be back in his hometown. Jordan Davis, big body in the middle for the Bulldogs. Big personality, also comes from Charlotte. It is hard to move that mountain of a man out of the middle. Can he shut down Clemson's running game? North Carolina, an important alumni base for both of these schools. Well, this has been the Nissan pregame drive. Kickoff from Charlotte is coming up. The Dogs and the Tigers. But now a look inside Nissan's Heisman House.
Finally, another wide receiver in the house, my man.
So, you ready to learn how the Heismans do it?
Can't wait.
Hi. Did one of you gentlemen use Nissan at home to order 40 Pathfinders?
Baker said it's another Heisman thing. I didn't think you'd believe me.
Here are your keys, sir.
Hey, let's go get breakfast. Rookie's back.
You know that fresh made-to-order salad you've been craving? What if you could get it with fire-roasted corn, crispy tortilla strips, and Southwest ranch dressing? That's what we call the Southwest salad. It's brand new, and it's only at Zaxby's. Redeem rewards, scan to pay, order ahead on the Zaxby's app.
You know how some carriers give you so little for your older busted phone you just end up living with it? I don't think so. Verizon lets you trade in your broken phone for a shiny new one. You break it, we upgrade it. You dunk it, crash it, yucks, doggy bone it, slam it, wham it, strawberry jam it. We upgrade it. Every customer, current, new, or business. Up to $800 for the 5G phone you want. Because everyone deserves better. Put my phone in the washer and the dryer.
Drop that pen. Before you sign that, raise your credit scores instantly with Experian.
Wow, my score went up. Thanks, you saved me money.
Experian. Free. Go to Experian.com or get the app now.
Finally, the perfect ratio of crispy, juicy, tender chicken to pickles to pillowy potato bun, which gives you the perfect ratio of chicken sandwich in every bite of chicken sandwich. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You'd never want leftover food residue on your surfaces, but that's what you could be doing with a used dishcloth. So switch to Bounty for a more hygienic clean. Unlike used dishcloths that can redistribute residue, Bounty keeps your surfaces cleaner. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
College football is not just the game, not just the stars and the plays. It's so much more. The atmosphere, the look, the feel, the noise. And a stadium finally full of fans. Now, the best matchup of the weekend and maybe the year.
Oh my goodness!
Two top 5 teams with proud pedigrees. Highly touted QBs making their names.
JT Daniels, DJ Uiagalelei. Touchdown! Yes!
Welcome home, football.
This is a statement game. This is what we do.
The whole package. When Georgia and Clemson clash on Saturday Night Football.
First knocked heads back in 1897. This is the 65th chapter in Georgia versus Clemson, the first in 7 years. The stadium here has been Clemson Tigers home away from home. They've won 5 of the 6 ACC titles in a row right here in this building. Great to have the skills of Holly Rowe in our team this year, her 26th season covering college football. Welcome, Holly.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm here with Clemson coach Dabo Swinney. And, Coach, how do you want to see your team take the exuberance and excitement in this building but play within themselves?
Yeah, just got to settle down and everybody focus on doing their job. The game, it's time to play. A lot of preparation. Now it's about doing. All right, so just see them do their job.
DJ has done this job before, but now it's his team. What do you want to see him do well tonight?
Just play within the system and respond. You know, respond to success, respond to adversity, lead these guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
West begins for a 7th consecutive college football playoff, and can't wait to see how DJ Uiagalelei responds. Kirk has had a whole off-season to study and be the guy. Preparation isn't the issue, but he can't bring all of Lawrence's poise and experience, can he, in his first game?
I think he played a tremendous poise last year. James Skalski comes back, surprised a lot of people. But, you know, one thing about DJ, 6'4", 250 pounds. And JT Daniels, man, he plays with tremendous poise. Both these guys are going to have their moments and opportunities. I thought Dabo brought up a good point. Not just about making plays, it's about responding to adversity, because that'll happen.
Clemson's a home team wearing the orange. They won the toss and deferred. Man, last year, he had nothing like this. It feels great. Enjoy it tonight, folks. Zamir White, Kenny McIntosh, 2 running backs deep to receive the kickoff of B.T. Potter, who usually doesn't allow many returns. This one does reach the end zone, but McIntosh is going to bring it out. Runs through 1 tackle, fights hard to get out near the 25-yard line. These 2 quarterbacks, you got JT and DJ from L.A., and they did collide in a very fierce rivalry in L.A. St. John Bosco, Uiagalelei, modern day. JT, this is a playoff game early in DJ's career, and JT had the better of him that night.
Yeah, he is a little bit older, and these are 2 great programs. And you can see that time, modern day, one of the best programs out on that West Coast. Whoever plays quarterback typically has a lot of playmakers around him.
Daniels was the 3rd guy to start at quarterback last year for Georgia. Went 4-0 as a starter and lit up the stat sheet. Looking to throw in the first play. Dumps it off underneath. And making the catch is the true freshman tight end, Brock Bowers from Napa, California. Welcome to college football.
Yeah, they've been talking all camp about him. And take a look at our Chick-fil-A impact players. Zamir White get an opportunity along with James Cook in that backfield with a lot of injuries to receiver. Jermaine Burton, 7's got to get vertical and make plays. Brian Brzee, defensive tackle, 11. Last year as a true freshman, made an impact. Now has to go to another level. And 23 rather, Andrew Booth, their top cover man.
And a false start there for Clemson. Tyler Davis, the big man in the middle of that defensive front, not there. Clemson.
False start. Offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Clemson won't confirm widespread reports of a positive COVID test, but how much will they miss Davis in the middle tonight?
Well, he's an enforcer, and you can see now we're going to have Row. And one thing about him is he's really worked hard. He came in at about 255 pounds, really known for his high school basketball skills, and he's gotten all the way up to 300 pounds. They said he's improved as much as anybody on that side of the football in camp.
Penalty on Justin Schaefer makes it 2nd and 8 now. Play action, Daniels flips it short again. Second catch for Bowers, and the young tight end making an impact, but wrestled out of bounds after a short gain. And it was Neal Inspector.
Todd Monken, you know, they're known for their physicality. They want to run the ball tonight to set up play action, but they're expecting an aggressive Clemson defense and a couple play action passes early.
Comes the pressure ball out quickly. Another short completion and a first down catch by Marcus Rosemary Jack Saint. And it's great to see him back, a guy who broke his ankle in the game against Florida last year.
Great point. And good recognition by JT Daniels there. Soft corner on third down. Goes into the boundary where he's got an easy throw and an easy matchup with that pre-snap read. Outstanding there by 18.
All the talk about we're going to come off the bus, run in the rock, pound the ball, Georgia style. 3 passes to start the game. Zamir White is the back to the left of Daniels. He's got it and has to sidestep traffic in the backfield, able to muscle for about 4.
Todd Monken, as an offensive coordinator, I think he would tell you he has settled in more now this year. He tried to build a new offense with quarterbacks and Dwayne Mathis and Stetson Bennett, who are learning a new system in the middle of a global pandemic with COVID restrictions. Tough thing to do, and then JT Daniels doesn't come on until the last part of the season. Now he's had an entire offseason to build this offense around Daniels. He knows the players better. The players know him better. So Georgia's confident that they're going to be much better with Monken's offense.
Another flag pre-snap.
Yeah, Clemson bouncing around quite a bit up there.
Delay game. Defense. They signal a clap. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
SEC crew today. That's Jason Autry. You don't see that called often.
No, it's James Skalski. You know, look, like, sometimes you yell, move, move, to just try to get the offensive lineman to jump. In this case, it was James Skalski who's clapping his hands. It's an indicator for the defensive lineman to stunt, to move, and bounce around. But the officials clearly thought he was trying to get an advantage there, and that's why they called the penalty.
At age 23, he knows every trick in the book, the old man of that defense, but he got caught that time. So on 2nd and 1. He handed off left side, and barreling is James Cook. It'll be running back by committee. We'll see White, Cook, and Kendall Milton, who might be the most talented of all of them.
Yeah, they will mix it in, but that time, let's give an assist to the offensive line on that left side. Really good job of getting their hips turned. Schaefer, 54, probably the toughest lineman, does a good job.
Dogs playing with some tempo, and Daniels is not a runner. He gets back to the line of scrimmage. Consider that a win before Trey Williams tracked him down.
Todd Monken taking a page out of the book of Ryan Day. Remember the last time we saw Clemson? It was a lot of confusion. Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, they got physical at the line of scrimmage. They mixed their tempo, they mixed their formations, and caused problems for Venables in the communication. They've worked very hard on trying to improve that, but Todd Monken trying to test him here early after that first down.
Pitch on the edge here to Milton. It's kind of a tricky thing, isn't it? You're not really a tempo team. You know the other team has a problem with it on defense, but how much do they employ that tonight? It's not really their MO.
No, it's not. And you don't have Justin Fields. You know, you don't have the same offense, and it makes it a lot tougher to do. And you can see they're trying to get these big linemen. Look at that defense fly. I mean, that's their strength. It's tough to run wide on them because of how quickly they can move sideline to sideline. See, now Brent Venables likes to get the call in late as he can, and that's the kind of the cat and mouse game with an offensive coordinator and a quarterback going up against Brent Venables. And he likes to see that last formation you're in and then make the adjustments with his communication from the sideline.
Daniels running out of time here, Kirk.
Yep.
They just get the snap off. 3rd and 8. Got good protection. Flips.